Hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to FanZcene. Greg here, and tonight with me on the Physical Media Show, which I'm glad to have you all here, is Tom and Runner. Welcome, guys. How you doing this evening?
Yo.
Yo, yo, yo.
I'm doing all right.
Okay. I love your enthusiasm, Runner.
Dude, I just got back I had spring break last week, which was nice, and I have to go back to school, so
I hate
now
that.
you understand why I feel the way. Yeah, it fucking sucks. And it's only 1 week. 1 week off. I wish it was two. Two would have been nice.
That would be nice. But glad to have you here. And I know it always sucks. I always hate to have to go back to school after spring break or long break. But I'm glad you're with us tonight. I know it is. Let's say hi to the chat, everybody, real quick. We got Heather Preston. She says hi. Hi, Heather Preston. We got Anthony Anonymous. I almost called him Anthony Gamer. It's Anonymous Gamer. Sorry about that. Hell, everybody. I know. I don't know why I was. And Danny Pearson said, "Fancy vids, transport complete." Hello again, Greg and Ald. Nice to have you here from 4K4U. And I don't know why it's not showing up on here, but Tim Hayes, who has been a channel member for 7 months, sending his channel member chat here, says, "Hell, fancy vids, I'll be late tonight, so sending this now." Well, thank you, Tim Hayes, for always being here, being a channel member, and for being here as long as you have. I truly appreciate your support, and it was nice to have you on. It was nice to have you on last week with us. Then we have Random Brad. It says "Hell's all," and he gives a good vibes thing. And then we have a deleted scenes. Welcome, deleted scenes. The chat's jumping on me a little bit, so that's why I was a deleted scenes. Who am I missing here? Am I missing anybody? Brian Barth. Hell, Brian Barth. I could have sworn I saw somebody a minute ago that's not showing up. Guess that was it. And Anthony Draven, how are you? Glad to see you here as always. But thank you guys for all being here and everybody at home watching. Am I breaking up a little bit out there, everybody? Can you hear me okay?
It's clicking on our end. I don't know about those guys out there.
Okay.
I hear some cracking here and there, but like it's not like horrible.
Okay. It looks like I might drop the bar on my internet. Damn it.
That might do it.
It clicked back up. So let me know if you hear it more.
All right.
Okay. Let me hopefully it stays up. I don't know. It dropped back up and then drop back in.
Yeah, Random Brad can hear it. It's still there, but I was gonna say maybe a quick refresh or unplug your mic and plug it back in. Usually that helps. One of the two.
Let's see here. Give me a minute. You guys.
Oh, he's doing that. We have music for that. Oh, you're back.
Okay, tell me if it sounds any better here, any more clicking or anything.
Nah, it's still doing it.
Well,
damn it!
Yeah,
damn it!
I still hear it.
Right, I'm gonna refresh my page and come back in. So
and it's a lot more recognizable. And it's a lot more recognizable.
Yeah, it was worse the second time.
Yeah,
Runner goes to Best Buy and he finds all the movies there. He's such a little jerk and he reminds us that his Best Buy still gets movies. Movies from Best Buy he does. We don't know why he sucks so much, but it's okay. We put up with him anyway. Just kidding. He's a good kid. All right, let's hear you.
Okay, how about now? Does it sound any different, any better, dull, or what?
So far, so good.
Yeah, it's
so
better.
Far, so good. Okay.
You just missed a lot of fun. I was dancing to this jam that Tom was giving me. It was hilarious. It was great. You missed it. You gotta watch the replay.
I missed the cool stuff. I will. I don't know what happened.
Probably it's probably like peak for this like peak standards for this show, honestly. Like that's how great it was.
I'll look at it. I'll look at it.
You'll believe me. It's something.
We're off to a beautiful start.
Yes, we are.
I'm so happy.
Oh, it's so fun. Am I sounding any better? Am I crackling up again or anything? Okay.
Son of a
No, you're not sounding any better.
Let's
just go on.
We'll just go. Whatever happens, happens. Oh, it's going to be a good night tonight, guys. It's going to be a fun show.
FanZcene's DVD player's gonna break.
My internet dropped down again, as I think is the problem. Something's happened with the internet tonight. But thank you. If anybody can hear me, if I'm not glitching or messing up, hell to everybody in the chat, hell to everybody watching. Thank you all for being here. Hopefully, it fixes. I don't know. I'm checking the settings and everything as we speak.
Hey, chat, it's the sound of Greg's VHS player about to die out. all those VHSs for nothing.
Suck my what?
Now you know how it feels, motherfucker.
What? How about now? Anything?
Yeah, now you sound like you're coming through the right mic at least now, but
okay.
The clicking is obviously inherent in the internet. I think you're right. There's not much you
can
do about it.
Yeah, there's not much I can do about that. Sometimes it happens. Well,
I think we're just gonna have to roll with it
here lately. So that usually when the rain comes in, it messes up the internet a little bit.
Yeah, if that's the case, then you might want to have your internet company come out and look, because that means your wires might be in a place where they're getting wet.
Oh, I know they are. They came out once before and fucked it up. So
even more than it was before. Good.
Yeah.
That's typical.
They're dealing with these people is a hot bag of garbage. But anyways, thank you, Brian Barth. I see your question. I have not seen the French Connection in years, and Tom actually brought on the Deer Hunter not too long ago on 4K. So
you ever pick your feet in Poughkeepsie?
I've wanted to watch the French Connection for a while.
Bye-bye, Doyle.
But no, I haven't seen any of those, Bryant.
Yeah, I haven't. I've seen the French Connection, but it's been years. It's got one of the greatest car chases, as far as I remember. That's what everybody says.
I've seen the car. I've seen the car chase. That's the only thing I've seen.
That and Bullet, I always.
Bullet's probably better though.
Yeah, I think Bullet's better personally, but French Connection is good. Don't get me wrong.
As far as the car chase, the better movie is probably French Connection. So
yeah, I mean Gene Hackman.
Yeah.
Oh, that's always a plus.
Yeah. But if you guys can hear me and I sound somewhat better, we got possible. Okay, thank you. We got possible Ferris Bueller coming on 4K. It's in the works.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's in the. Yeah,
where did this come from? Because I didn't see anything on Twitter about
Disc Fada.
He posted pictures of them working on it.
Oh, really? I didn't see
Hello,
anything.
Disc Fada. Hello, Disc Mudda.
Greetings from Camp Granada. Yes, we have that. We have the that May 16th. We will get the longest yard. I almost said the longest run. The Longest Yard coming on 4K from Akina Lorber, along with a couple other Burt Reynolds titles, The Hustle, a movie with Candice Bergen, and Paternity, starring Burt Reynolds. All those Burt Reynolds titles. Yes, here's the Ferris Bueller stuff. As you can see, they are working.
Yeah. Okay, I'm rarely on Instagram, so
it's also on Twitter too.
I always check his Instagram though.
Yeah, and then
I always check his Twitter.
Yeah, check his Twitter. What's the other ones there was nothing else real huge that we talked about. I know that we get the Italian Job remake still
Creep
good.
Show.
Creep Show, possible 4K. Yes, I forgot about that. What was the other one that we before Creep Show that we saw? Oh, Seed of Chucky. Seed of Chucky 4K.
Yeah.
Yeah, Seed of Chucky 4K. Probably Shout Factory this September, probably October. I think that's really about it. There was nothing real big this week at all. So
I mean,
of course. Go ahead.
No, you go. You go.
No, I was gonna say, of course. I mean, like like Cocaine Bear, Scream 6, John Wick, Shazam. All those are coming, which I don't typically like covering those because everybody knows those are coming.
Well, to be fair, Cocaine and John Wick 4 are like the only ones that are worth a fuck.
Yeah. But yes, those will be coming down the pipes in a couple months on 4K Blu-ray, all that good stuff as well.
I think you can order. Did you guys talk about The Lighthouse?
Oh yeah, no, we talked about it last week, but The Lighthouse is available on 4K on A24's website.
Yes,
but it looks like Arrow will probably be doing a 4K of The Lighthouse for the UK.
Say that. I was just gonna say that.
Well, say it.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, was it? I saw it on the Disc Fathers Twitter, was that it was getting released by Arrow, and I'm like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it'll be cheaper than the one in the A24 shop, because
I would say yeah, because A24 jacks up their prices big time on their
I know,
website.
dude. Like, unlike so far in the like every like 4K like release thing, I'm surprised they haven't done their own exclusive EAO 4K thing there. I mean, they might since it won an Oscar, but
A24 love-hate relationship with them.
Yeah, I get it. I mean,
I don't like elevated horror, but I did like The Lighthouse, and I do want to see X and Pearl because I've heard good things about X and Pearl. But I don't give a shit about the Babadook. I don't give a shit about the Witch. I don't give a shit about.
I don't think the Babadook was A24.
Yeah, I think it was.
Really?
I think it was. I don't know if I'm wrong. I'm wrong. And I know people like the Witch. I know people like the Witch, and nothing against that. It's just I found that one really boring.
I haven't seen it. I might watch it just because I do like Robert Eggers as a director.
I like it. I like Robert Eggers too, but I just found The Witch boring, and I know a lot of people like it, and that's fine. So don't take that the wrong way. Midsummer. That's one I was thinking. Midsummer, not Babadook. Midsummer. Yeah, I don't care for that.
Yeah. I know a lot of people like. I know some people like Midsummer. I haven't seen it. It just never interested me. The Lighthouse was great. I did like The Lighthouse. I thought, honestly, I liked The Northman a little more, to be honest with you.
I need to see that one still. It's still one I have not seen. Yes, X and Pro are on my list. I've been meaning to pick them up for a long, long time.
Which one, The Northman?
Yeah, I haven't seen The Northman.
Yeah, you might like it. It's not really a horror movie though.
No, I know. It's cool.
And it's like it's a lot of toxic masculinity, so take it as you will.
Stuff.
But
all right, you know what? This is good as times ever. We'll read this $5 super chat. Thank you, Tommy Reviews, and then we'll get into showing you guys some physical media. It says Brotherhood of the Wolf 4K out in May, a criminally underrated movie, and also in June. Time Bandits also on Criterion with a whopping $50 price tag. Yes, I believe we talked about Time Bandits last week on. Yes, it's coming from Criterion. $50. You got to wait for that Criterion sale, which is going on right now, by the way. If anybody wants to, Criterion is having a sale right now. Time Bandits won't be on it, but best bet is probably wait for their sale to get that if you want the price to come down. I've heard great things about Brotherhood of the Wolf. Robert Meyer Burnett highly recommended that movie to me once, so I really need to pick that movie up. And I heard the Blu-ray that Shout put out not long ago wasn't so great, so I will probably pick up this 4K. So I'm looking forward to getting that. I've heard great things about that. And since you give us a $5 super chat, and I'll play you up a good video here. Let's see. Let me find a good one. Here. I like that. But yes, Dan Blackroyd, I agree with you. The
Cool.
witch. What was that?
I just said cool.
Oh,
That's it.
yeah. Love that movie, but F on that 100. But with that being said, thank you guys for sticking with us. Am I sounding any better before we get into all this?
You sound it sounds good.
Periodically.
Damn it.
I don't know, not as bad as before.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it ends up fixing.
Who let
We'll
the
try our
dogs
best.
out?
That's Sadie. She's always got to tell everybody all the business.
Cool.
All right. So, who wants to go first, Runner or Tom?
Oh no.
Runner.
Runner.
All right,
Okay.
cool.
That youngest first.
All right. Most of these other movies I have are, fun, mostly fun popcorn flick type movies. This one's a more serious movie. It's a long movie. It's very good, and it's it's a very important movie, but it's also very sad too. It's
Debbie
tragic.
Does Dallas Part 3.
Does that even exist?
No.
Of course not.
There's
Debbie
only two.
got AIDS.
No!
Oh.
No! Sorry, go on, Runner.
No, but I watched this one not too long ago because I think was it my mom wanted to watch this with me and I did. It's probably one of Steven Spielberg's most popular films, which I know that's saying a lot because he's got a ton of films that people know about, but this was probably one of his last really great movies, and that's Schindler's List.
Schindler's List. I knew where he was going. I was gonna say, I hope it's not Fablemans again.
No. I've already shown the Fablemans.
I know.
But no, Schindler's List was.
Allow me just to say, when it comes to the Fablemans, fuck that movie. Okay, go ahead.
Oh wow!
I've been meaning to clip your rants and turn them into videos. I keep forgetting to do that.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
But yes, Schindler's List is a great movie. It is very touching, sad, and poignant.
Yeah.
Yeah. Any words on it?
It's I'll need to rewatch it again, just because I'll need to rewatch it with subtitles because sometimes it's kind of hard for me to I don't know, just because the way they would talk and all that was kind of the pace of it was I don't know, kind of threw me off. But other than that, it was everything. It's a beautiful looking movie. The black and white stuff was cool. It worked very well because it was shot almost like it was a documentary, but it's not at the same time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's a good one. I like it, and that was the only movie my family had to, that the teachers made us bring home a slip for your family to sign to allow you to watch the movie in school. That was the only movie I ever had to do that with at school.
Yeah, I'm surprised they never made us watch this. At least I don't think so.
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah, we did. We watched.
No,
it.
I assumed other schools did make you watch this, but maybe they did, and I just don't remember.
You would remember Schindler's List, man. So
yeah, no, because I feel like I've seen parts of it. That's why I feel like I've seen it, but I haven't. But then I watched the whole movie, and I'm like, yeah, I probably haven't. But no, but Liam Neeson was fantastic. He was fucking robbed from getting an Oscar, in my opinion. Because didn't fucking Tom Hanks win that year or some shit?
Was that the one where he talked about where he won for Philadelphia, or was that where he won for Forrest Gump?
It wasn't Forrest Gump because Forrest
that was
Gump
against
came out.
Pulp Fiction. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That was against Pulp Fiction. This had to be Philadelphia, I believe.
I don't know. It's a good one. And do you think Schindler's List is Spielberg's peak? Probably. Probably. I don't think
Yeah,
he. I do kind of think maybe he, a little bit like Dan Blackwood here, maybe he did go full blown Oscar hunting after that. Uh,
yeah,
maybe,
yeah.
maybe,
I can kind of see that.
maybe, but I think maybe he had reached the pinnacle. I mean, once he did everything he did up to that point, I mean, like he did the big blockbuster movies, he did the dramas, he did, the like the smaller type films, and where do you really go as Spielberg? you know,
Yeah,
so
like, well, I mean, he had a few like popcorn flicks. Like after this, like, was it like I know like I think I forgot what year it was, but like when did Minority Report come out? Like 2000 or something?
did he do Minority Report
Yeah,
with Tom Cruise?
yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
know that. I
You
never watched it.
seriously?
I never watched it. I told you. I mean, I like Tom Cruise, but I'm not like a fan of him, so I don't really.
Oh,
I never watched
I'm
Minority Report.
I'm surprised you haven't seen the Minority Report at least.
It didn't look interesting to me when I saw. I didn't even know Spielberg was behind it, though.
Yeah, yeah, he was. It was his first movie he did with Tom Cruise, and then he did War of the Worlds, and they never worked together since. Well, I think they know. I think Steven Spielberg just didn't like working with Tom Cruise after War of the Worlds because Tom Cruise kept pissing him off about Scientology.
I'm not the only one that didn't know it. See, Random Brad didn't know it.
Hey, but maybe they'll make another movie together because Steven Spielberg says that Tom Cruise saved cinema. So
Yeah, a Superman movie in the '90s from Spielberg. That could have been something special. I
yeah,
think if they could have cracked it, they probably could have.
honestly, I would have loved to have seen a Flash movie directed by Steven Spielberg. That would have been fucking amazing.
I don't know. I think Superman lends his talents more to Spielberg than the Flash.
I mean, he can do Superman too, but I think Flash would be good too. I do.
I don't know. I think it would have been better Superman. Yeah, you never know. But as
No,
far as Schindler,
that's what I'm saying, Dan Black. Right? They might make a sequel to Minority Report now.
uh, Warren Beatty and Harrison Ford. I just couldn't see them guys taking on the role Liam Neeson does. I think
No,
Liam Neeson.
not Harrison Ford. No.
No, I, I think that worked better for somebody like Liam Neeson than like big stars like Warren Beatty and Harrison Ford.
Oh hell yeah, dude! Like
So
Liam Neeson, he's got like it. I mean, I don't want to say it's his tone of voice, but it really is. It just works perfectly for that like setting and all that.
I love his cowboy voice that he does, and where you like play the
Yeah.
cowboy and his like Irish accent bleeds through real bad, and it's not good.
Yeah, and it's got a damn good cast too. You got Ben Kingsley, Ralph Fiennes. Like it's a good cast.
Nice, nice.
And
All
yeah,
right.
it's like it's depressing as fuck, which is really all I can say about this movie, but it's damn good. It's a damn good watch. Like it didn't feel like a 3-hour movie, which was incredible to me.
Yeah, it's a pretty good movie. How's the 4K transfer look on it? How's it look? Don't tell me you watched it on your phone.
I didn't.
Okay.
I mean, I didn't compare it to the Blu-ray, so plus like, it's in black and white, so I'm not sure how it I know some people say like, oh, there's no really big difference between black and
Well, I
white.
mean, this is Spielberg. He shot on film, so
Well, I know he shot on film, but there's other black and white movies, like older black and white movies, shot on film, obviously. But some people are like, oh, like there isn't a bigger difference, or some people have said that like black and white 4K transfers haven't been super impressive.
well, we shall see. I may have to pick that one up on 4K and see.
Yeah,
But
I think I got it for like $16 or some shit. So I don't know.
that's a loaded question there, Random Brad.
Oh,
There's a
no,
lot of great Spielberg movies, and
um,
I don't think I could pick because he
Jaws.
I was
Yeah,
just
well,
I was
yeah,
just I was just gonna say if I had to like if you like I was just gonna say if you just stick like a gun in my head and ask me that question, I would say Jaws.
I don't know. I like Raiders.
Raiders is a close second. It's
I
right
love
there.
Jaws too. See, that's why I don't like picking favorites because I love Jaws. I love Raiders. I love Temple of Doom. I love Last Crusade. I love E.T. I love Always. I love Schindler's List. I love you. You could just go
It's
on
just
and
easy
on.
for me though because depending on which day you ask me, Jaws is my favorite movie. So
Right.
Yeah, I usually I do say that Jaws is my favorite movie too. I it's either when somebody asks me what's my favorite movie of all time, sometimes I either go Jaws or The Thing. It's either one of those two for me.
And those aren't bad movies to pick at all. I mean, that's because there's so many different types of movies. I hate picking favorites because I love so many, and I don't know what to say.
Dude,
That's it always.
I know it's tough. It hurts for a while, but when you think it's like cuz yeah, it's like dude, like I feel you, man. Like I love Raiders. Um and I got to say Jaws. I got
I
to.
like Duel. I really do like Duel, and I'm looking forward to the 4K.
Yeah, Duel
Uh,
was good.
I love
I like
that.
Duel.
It's hard pick. I mean, if you're pure like I don't know, see, because like Jaws is like a pure cinematic masterpiece, especially with everything they had to go through with the shark and how it didn't work, and it just yeah, Catch Me If You Can. Exactly.
I still need to
It's
see
it's
it. I still need to
it's
watch that one.
it's a hard pick. It's a hard pick for me, but he's a great director, great movies, great pick, first pick there, runner. Tom, you ready for your first pick?
sure, why not?
Let's get this party started.
This one I talked about earlier on 4K for you, so we'll start there.
Okay.
I watched The Exorcist in 4K. I got it already from Scream or Shout Factory, whatever you want to call it. Came with a poster, nice standard Blu-ray case. Both the Blu-ray and the 4K come from a brand new scan of the negative. And of course, disc 3 is the old extended cut, and I cannot recommend this enough. This is a great release. It's well priced. It's definitely an improvement over the old Blu-ray, which just wasn't bad before. I mean, it was a really well done Blu-ray set before, but we got an upgrade now. Definitely worth it. Can't recommend it enough. Talked about it quite a bit on 4K for you, so I'm not gonna go too deep into it tonight. So yeah, there you go, guys. I highly recommend it. Looks amazing. And if you haven't seen the movie, do yourself a favor.
Yes, I plan on picking that up because I haven't seen the third one in a long time. Like we talked about on 4K for you, I do remember it being the best of the sequels and a really good movie in general. So I definitely got to
George C.
pick that
Scott
up.
yells a lot.
I love George. I love George C. Scott. It's just the way he like his voice and gravitas and the way he like delivers his lines. It's like he's always about on the edge of just like cussing you out when he speaks. It's just he's perfect.
That's pretty much him this whole movie. He's just the whole movie. He's just like on the edge, just like
it's like he's put up with so many people in his life. He's just
Yeah.
like one more fucking person says one more thing to
me. Well, not just that, just the shit he has to see day in, day out. Like he's gotten to the point where he's, like I said, it's a bit more heavier in the book, but like at this point in his life, he don't believe in God anymore. He's almost completely an atheist. His entire world is just kind of, same shit, different day kind of thing. His only real highlight is his daughter, it seems like, so like, it just, he's at that point of his life. He's probably counting the days to retirement. And then all of a sudden, one of his biggest cases ever, the Gemini killer, appears to have come back from the dead and is racking up high numbers, bigger numbers than most Friday the 13th movies. It's an excellent film, but as I pointed out earlier, I mean, I've seen this movie a dozen times or better at least.
Right.
And it's not like I hadn't seen it recently in recent years, even though I was kind of surprised to see that that Blu-ray didn't come out till 2016. I'm sure I rewatched The Exorcist 1 and 3 at least, if not once a year or every other year or so, if not all 4 of the films. 4.5 if you count both versions. But I don't usually watch Rennie Harlin's version of 4.
Right.
Yeah, no, I can't recommend it enough. There's some people who have even made an argument for as far as it being better than the original Exorcist. I don't know if I can go that far, but I can argue that yes, it probably holds up better than the original Exorcist. Like if you show this movie to an audience now, I think it would still work. And I think the reason that is, and I pointed this out earlier on 4K for you, one of the things I noticed besides, William Peter Blatty's brilliant editing, his brilliant dialogue, he knows how to shoot horror. It's almost like he's like dared himself to say, look, I'm going to shoot this in broad daylight. Like 90% of this movie is broad daylight. The only shot that's at night is like the beginning of the movie. That's it. The rest of the movie's in like broad day. He's like, not only that, I'm going to scare the hell out of you. And he doesn't show you anything. Like there's no gore in the movie at all, hardly till the very, very end. Most of the time you don't see, you never see any of the dead bodies. You never see any of the actual killings. You only see a little bit of blood here and there, like running blood on the floor or blood soaked through a sheet. So, I mean, really, if you look at this movie, it's almost like watching it the last time, like, how did this movie even get rated R?
Right.
Like, because I'm not even sure if there's an F word in the whole thing. Like, I'm trying to remember now. I'm like, maybe there's one or two, but even then, I'm like, I'm surprised this movie ain't PG-13, to be honest with you. Because it really is. In that respect, it's a lot more visceral than you think it is.
Yeah.
Right? It took that next step, and it is a much different film than the first Exorcist, too. So, but I expressed that all earlier, so yeah.
Yeah. It's like there was a lot of probably very sensitive censors when they were giving the MPAA rating because, like we said, it's very psychological. It's the power of the mind of what you're seeing is like your mind is creating it to be worse. Like much like the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which your mind is actually creating more than what you're actually seeing.
Well, so, like throughout the film, you have various people explaining these horrific murders, like in detail. Right, like you have both, first, George C. Scott's character himself is literally like telling the story of the black boy who got killed in the beginning and what happened to him, being decapitated and his eyes got gouged and his head was replaced by I think it was a Jesus statue's head and all that business. And then you get in the confessional, the Gemini killer basically tells you his first victim. And then we get that story again later on when he goes through some other victims. And I mean, and that's a lot of the stuff that my understanding is left out of the movie that's in the book is a lot of the backstory on the Gemini killer and how much of that, how much his story kind of plays into this. And it's kind of hilarious because I didn't know this until like recently when I was looking into it, like last night or whatever it was. William Peter Blatty picked the Gemini killer basically based on the Zodiac killer, obviously. And it was to get him back because the Zodiac killer named Exorcist as one of the movies that influenced him.
Right.
So it was his way of getting back at him.
Makes sense. It's a good way to do it.
Little fucker.
I'm gonna do this my way. But that's cool. Yes, I have to pick that up because that is something I've been excited to see. And plus, I've never seen, like we talked about earlier, I've never seen the director's cut or the alternate cut or whatever they call the Legion, I believe it's called, right?
Yeah.
Is it called Legion?
And
yeah.
I agree with
I've never
Rusty
seen
Shackelford. This movie has probably one of the best and most unnerving dream sequences in any film. And nothing really happens in it. It's just the atmosphere. That's the thing that Blatty is good at. He knows how to build atmosphere in the movie. You'll notice that with a lot of establishing shots. He does he'll come into a shot and he won't just start a scene.
Right.
He edits this movie not like the wrong way, but he does it so unconventionally that he takes you off guard from the start. Like the first thing you hear is, do 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 those similar tubular bells, then all of a sudden they get cut off. It's like he's saying this is not the same movie. It's like you're going to hear that and you never hear that music again for the rest of the movie. And just this droning noise comes in for the opening credits and that's it. It's just and the sound design. This is something I didn't talk about on 4K. I actually flipped over the 2K to the 2.0 soundtrack. It's better than the 5.1. I recommend watching it with the 2.0.
Nice.
It's
a
lot more balanced and it just feels like they did a good job replicating it in the 5.1. But there's times where it feels like the 5.1 mix might have come from a secondary source as opposed to the 2.0 mix, which comes from a much more fresher or first generation source or something, because the voices are much bolder, the atmosphere is much bolder. Like when there's like the voices and stuff are coming around, because there's a lot of stuff where he just sends the audio into the other channels, that it sounds so much better for some reason in the 2.0 stereo track than it does in 5.1. I don't get it. I don't understand why. But I'm kind of becoming a purist, I guess, in a weird sense of that way. I've noticed this lately, like this trend where I've found myself preferring the stereo track over the 5.1 mix. Because a lot of times I've noticed this more modern kind of take on it too, because they'll actually dampen like some of the room noise I've noticed in some things. And I think that's what hurts this movie, because you're like, there's a lot of spots in this movie where there's little noises and shit happening in the background. If you're not paying attention, that you don't hear like voices and stuff, or they'll overlap on each other and stuff, like in the left and right channel. On the 2.0, you hear it really nicely, but on the 5.1, it gets kind of drowned out. And it just doesn't quite sound as atmospheric, and even just the room noises don't sound the same, to where this movie, you can tell, was heavily sound edited. Like, Blatty knew that not just the picture was going to be a big deal, but the sound was going to be a big deal. And he jars you, but not in cheap ways, right? Like, as we brought this up earlier, like, he has probably arguably one of the best jump scare scenes in any fucking horror movie ever made. And that is this, starts as a long continuous shot down a hallway, and we sit there for like 30, 40, maybe more seconds. Nothing changes other than the nurse is there and she's checking rooms, hearing noises. Then we finally cut away. Maybe it's even longer than that. We finally do our first cutaway. Then we cut back to that exact same shot. And then it plays out again for like another minute. Nothing fucking happens. She gets up again. There's one more cutaway. Then it cuts back to the shot. Like, it just, and this is what I was saying about how he edits a movie like nobody else would, or you're like, it completely takes you off guard. Going back to what I was saying about the establishing shots. When you're coming into a scene, he doesn't have a bunch of stuff happening. He gives you a bunch of shots of things in the room. Just kind of establishes the room in a weird way. Like, even during dialogue scenes, he'll cut away from stuff. And sure, that's a cheap way of covering up a fuck up when you don't have something to cut to. But I don't think Blatty's doing it for that. He's doing it on a purpose. And it's to get you off guard through the entire fucking movie. And you're on your edge of your seat because of that. And it's the same thing with that shot, because finally, by the time something happens, you have resolved yourself to going, nothing is going to happen here. And no matter how many times I've seen that shot, because it is so long, you can never remember exactly where the scare comes in. You kind of remember, but you don't remember well enough, because it is so drawn out. The timing is so, you can't like time it like a musical, thing, right? Like, usually movies, you can kind of, you start to know these movies, these horror films especially. You remember when you hear the screams, you remember when you hear the jolts. Unfortunately, Blatty doesn't give you that waterbed to safely float on, right? What he's doing is taking that all away from you and going, I'm going to sit here and keep you hanging for a minute and a half, 2 minutes before something happens. And when it happens, not only is it going to happen, I'm going to instantly cut away.
It's mastery, man.
And he does that in a lot of scenes. There's a lot of scenes where he does not cut a scene where naturally most people would cut a scene. And I thought that because I'm sitting here to find a spot to pause so I could get up and grab something to eat. And I ended up pausing in a pretty decent spot, but I noticed it then too. I'm like, God, he cut that right up to the edge of that fucking dialogue. And usually they'll leave a dialogue hang, like they'll say, like so-and-so will say, blah, 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 blah. And then they'll just have a beat and then a cut. He doesn't give you that fucking beat. And I don't know if this is making any sense to Runner coming from film school right now, but I mean, this is a movie that I don't think people have really observed enough, that I think really does need another look again, as far as like it does deserve the kind of praise the original film gets.
I get you. You know what?
I haven't heard anyone really talk about The Exorcist 3, maybe except like you guys. So
it needs.
It's also a lesson in how a reshoots and a studio interference is one of the few times in history may have helped the film. And that's where the benefit of watching the assembly cut compared to the theatrical cut. Because another big point then is originally Brad Dourif just played Father Karras. But in the reshoots, when they wanted a big splashy ending for the movie, they tracked down Jason Miller, who played him in the original film, and it makes all the difference. Because both performances are brilliant. But what's beautiful is in the assembly cut, you actually get to see Brad Dourif's full performance, his other version of it. So you get to see him play both parts, basically. So it's kind of neat, and in that respect, it's nice to have. It's in really rough shape. They don't have most of the movie. It's mostly from videotapes and black and white dupes and shit like that. But it's decent. They even had to still fill in some spots from the theatrical cut because they didn't have the alternate takes. So, but it's a nice little piece of history to have, because it's been so famous that people have talked about it for years. Blatty's always promised and said that it's his. He prefers it or wished he could have, but he played ball with the studio, because he thought maybe, fuck it, if they're going to give me almost half the budget they gave me for the rest of the movie just to reshoot the ending, I'm going to make it, make it worthwhile.
Make it, yeah.
And he does. And the thing is I'm kind of glad that version of the movie hadn't surfaced until after his death, I believe, because I think most people agree that this is one of those times where the theatrical cut is better.
It's the one that most people prefer to, yeah. But I want to go, when you were talking about the building the suspense and the jump scare, that what you were saying reminded me a lot of what Bruce Campbell just came out and said. He was talking about how he's glad that movies have moved away from like the horror movies have moved away from like the Saw movie, like torture porn and stuff. And he was saying there's an art. Yeah, he was saying there's an art form to telling a horror movie about the right jump scares and building the suspense. And he was talking about how there's a lot that goes into that to build up that moment to that scare and the scare and all this. So a lot of that is what you were describing. It sounded just like Bruce Campbell, what he was just saying like a couple days ago. It was at the premiere of Evil Dead Rise, but that's
really?
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, you were.
No, I wasn't. Bruce Campbell was. He was. It was. I was watching.
You heard him say it. I
was watching the video. There's a video of him.
Gotcha.
Yeah, he was like everything he was saying was literally what you was just saying about how he worked that scene.
No, because I friggin' hate jump scares. They're the cheapest fucking. I could make a jump scare right now.
Right.
I could go shoot something, and it would have a jump scare. It would scare everybody. It'd make you jump. But what good is that going to do you again?
Exactly. That's what he was like. He's saying he was like it's the art form to do it right. Like you were saying, like with the Exorcist, he was saying it takes, and he was glad it's moved past.
Oh, like and it gets you every fucking time too, because you're just drawn out because it's coming, but you're still like, is it here now? No, it's not this part. It's the next part. Is it yet? Oh shit!
Oh my god! Son of a bitch! Every time.
What happens too is it was just a perfect shot where they zoom in right at that moment because you've been so used to being stable for so long, and just that person just comes out of nowhere and just like boom, you're like whoa, and you got they got the big stupid bone cutter thing and everything. It's like oh geez, and that thing alone just kind of just the noise it makes. It's like
right.
Hey Tom, I got a question. Just because you mentioned about jump scares and stuff, are you a fan of Five Nights at Freddy's?
I've never really played. I'm familiar with it, but I've never really played it or anything or seen. I haven't. They got a movie coming out, don't they?
Because I've seen like videos of it in like beginning of middle school, I believe, and that's when I hated jump scares.
No, because that's all that is built on, really. I mean,
no, but like that's where it all kind of started for me.
And to me, that's kind of what cheapened like even the Alien films, really.
Yeah,
I get you.
But no, they are making a Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Blumhouse.
And why did Jason Miller not appear in more films? I heard he had a lot of drug and alcohol problems over the years. Like they couldn't even find him originally, I guess was the deal. It was why he wasn't in the movie to begin with. And then somebody ended up tracking him down somehow. But yeah, I can't remember the exact story. But Exorcist, in my opinion, is still the superior film. You can't even really have The Exorcist 3 without The Exorcist, but you can kind of watch The Exorcist 3 without seeing The Exorcist and still get the gist of what's going on.
Right.
Because I compared it earlier to a movie that's more like Seven.
Yeah. That's like what we talked about earlier. It's very psychological, serial killer-esque type movie. I hate jump scares too. But I've been meaning to get that. I got to get that. And I want to, I guess I'll give The Legion a shot, which I've never watched. Just watch Willy's Wonderland. That's a great movie, actually. I love it. Have I ever brought that on here?
I've heard of that movie.
But this thing is loaded with special features. I mean, it's nothing new from the last time, but you've got vintage featurette, vintage interviews, trailers, radio spots, audio interview with William Peter Blatty that basically runs like an audio commentary, a 5-part newer making documentary that was from 2016, so not brand new, but newer. So yeah, just tons of shit on here. Definitely worth it. I think I got it for like 20. I think it was like 30 something with the poster and all that together with shipping and all that business. But I mean, I think you can get it for like 21 or something like that right now on Amazon. I think it is maybe 24. I can't remember, but it's worth it. It's definitely worth it. If you don't want a poster, I mean, shit. I just thought, fuck it, I'm gonna get a poster with it.
I'm out of room for posters, so I would probably just buy the 4K.
I think if I remember right, I think this version might have come with a poster too, so I might have this poster as well. But the new one is just this poster, of course, which to me is an excellent poster too. This is one they've never really messed with much, really. Same thing with the original. That's the beauty of those. They're so kind of iconic. Even the second film, as much as people don't like it, it's still got a pretty iconic poster.
It does. It's got a nice
Even though
one.
it's just Reagan's face, but still.
This I didn't know. Jason Patrick from Lost Boys, Jason Miller's son. I did not know that.
I did. Yeah, somebody told me that. And doesn't he have a sister or brother or something like that too?
Jason Patrick?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Trying to remember now. Yeah, there's like a whole thing because I didn't even know it, and then somebody told me that, and I'm like, holy shit! And I looked it up, and yeah, it's true. He's his kid. Yeah.
I did not know that. I did not know that at all. His grandparents are Jackie Gleason. Is his grandfather. Yeah.
And what do I think of Exorcist 2? I don't hate it. I don't hate it as much as most people do, but I also see the movie I wish it was in there. So I just always kind of remember that, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see there was potential here, but it feels like it was wasted kind of thing when you watch it. You're just kind of like, there could have been a really neat story to be told here with, Reagan kind of being, possessed still, but not by the devil, but by this good force, basically Father Merrin, and using that power against another girl who's possessed by Pazuzu. That would have kind of been an interesting thing. And because I kind of like the deal where she's talking to the girl who's catatonic, and stuff like that. Like those kind of things, I was like, okay, there's an interesting story to be told here and the effects that this had on her. Right, and gave her basically like psychic kind of powers and shit, and has Father Karras kind of got as her guardian angel kind of thing, or Father Merrin, I mean, not Karras, or it could have been either or, really.
Yeah.
To be honest with you, either or, to be honest with you, like I said, but because they both technically die, even though Karras didn't die, but yeah, you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Hey, but you can look forward to the Blumhouse Exorcist movies with their mom. So.
That is.
I'm not looking after what they did with Halloween.
See, here's where you potentially could just do what I said. Only I don't understand why they're not, because Linda Blair's like, they didn't even contact me.
Yeah.
And I know supposedly she's had a rough go of it with drugs and other things, and she's bit of a wackadoodle with some of the, activist stuff. Not even the woke activist shit, but she's always been a huge activist with like
crazy
animals and stuff like that and some other things. So maybe that's why, but I mean, I've seen some interviews and shit with her, and she was on a lot of them VH1 like opinion shows, like Pop Goes the Videos or whatever the fuck they would call them. I love the 80s or whatever the hell that shit was. Yeah. Like she'd always pop up on some of those things. So it's like, okay, she's running that washed out, but now no longer, basically out of rehab kind of deal, like Danny Bonaducci was another one of those, and Tonya Harding and stuff like that. So I'm like, I mean, it's not like she's not coherent. She's not that old. I mean, she's older, but she's not that old. I mean, she doesn't look too ragged for her age. I mean, why isn't she involved in this? This makes no fucking sense. Why Ellen Barkin? What the hell? She's like 106.
It's like, I guarantee she's only going to be in the first one for like a couple of minutes, and then she'll just disappear. Ellen Barkin. It's just like...
I have no idea, but she's like 98 fucking years old in real life. I mean, I'm being a little bit hyperbolic maybe, but she's not that much younger than that, if so. I mean,
my daughter Reagan was once one of those. Bye.
Yeah, she was one of those.
And then she's gone. Oh yes, I cannot.
Ooh.
Ooh. I'd rather just watch Repossessed, which is supposedly coming from Vestron sometime. So hopefully that comes soon.
That one I want to see again. It's been a while.
I do too. Uh, all right, so I
All
guess
right.
going to mine. I was going to do my non-horror pick first, but since like you brought yours, I already did a video on this, and I might as well show it first. So I got Dr. Giggles. It's a great little fun flick from the 90s. If you've never seen it, highly
Full
recommend
disclosure,
it.
I haven't.
You've never seen this?
I haven't.
Oh, that's cool. Well, you're going to have a heck of a fun time with it. Hopefully.
I don't know why, because it came out in like the height of my horror, like just getting into horror, but for some reason it was just one that just didn't seem to interest me at the time. But I would have probably watched it before this show so we could talk about it together, but mine from Amazon is not getting here until tomorrow.
Oh, that sucks.
With Dragon Slayer that was supposed to all be here Tuesday.
Oh, that's right. Dragon Slayer. Yeah. But I mean, have you seen The Dentist? It would probably not for a while, but that just came out.
I got it, and I remember vaguely seeing one of them on cable when I was a kid, but I just hardly read. All I remember was that what's his face was in it, and that was about it.
Yeah, this would be a great companion piece to that. This movie is a fun '90s flick. I don't want to spoil too much since you've never seen it. So I just give you like the basic rundown of the plot here. Okay, Dr. Giggles, played by Larry Drake, who also played the role of the evil Santa in All Through the House on Tales from the Crypt. Keep in mind, Tales from the Crypt will be a part of this movie. Larry Drake, he's this inmate at this insane asylum. They call him Dr. Giggles because he's schizophrenic. His IQ is off the chart. That nobody knows who he is. And he escapes in the beginning of the movie, and he heads back to, you find out he goes back to his hometown where he's from. His dad was actually the doctor of the hometown, and his mom got sick with a heart condition, and his dad sort of went crazy and started cutting out the hearts out of people. And so the town, basically mobbed him, and he got away as a kid. He was hidden. I don't want to tell you how, Tom, since you've never seen it, but I did say in my review. So he got away, and then he grew up, and he got in the hospital. So he's come back to deliver the medicine to the town. So he runs afoul of a bunch of teenagers, starts killing them. And then Holly Marie Combs from Charmed, she is the main character, the final girl here. She has a heart condition, by the way. So he zeroes in on her, just like his mother, and he just basically he kills people, and he delivers these great one-liners that like, wait till you see my bill, do you have protection, leave the thermometer there for a minute, or like when he goes to pump out a girl's stomach, this is gonna suck. He has great one-liners. So it's a really great, fun, cheesy, campy sort of 90s film. And the director, because I watched the special features, he said he actually directed an episode of Tales from the Crypt himself, and that's what got him this job. So he based this movie on EC Comics and sort of like he says Hammer film style with like certain shots he did, but I relate it to more like Brian Yunzna style because he did like The Dentist and stuff. He sort of got that style, but it feels like this could have been a Tales from the Crypt movie. It really feels like this could have been a Tales from the Crypt movie. So when you watch it, you will have that in your head, because even like the shots. Go on.
Like I said, now that you said that, maybe I'll feel that. And it did come from Universal. Yes. I'm trying to remember, because there was a couple of movies that were on that list and it might have been one of them.
You could have very well be, because like he said, the director says he based it off of old EC Comics, and he had worked on Tales from the Crypt. That's what got him this job.
Because there was like three or four projects that never got made as Tales from the Crypt, but got made as other things, like The Frighteners, which we've talked about before. But yeah.
Yes. That's while I was watching it, even before I watched the special feature, I was like, man, this feels like a Tales from the Crypt episode when I'm watching it. You know what I mean? And then when I heard the director say that he based it off of that, and he worked on that, I was like, that's why it felt like a Tales from the Crypt episode. And plus, this was like supposed to be with Dark Horse Comics. It was their first like production with the movie, and they made a comic book about this after the after the thing, after the movie was out. They made a prequel comic book the director wrote and 3 comics. But it's a really fun movie. I really dig it. The teenagers look like they're 30 years old, which, like we talked about earlier, in the 90s, teenagers in the 90s in movies always seem to be a lot older looking than the ones in the 80s. But it is a fun movie. It's campy. Larry Drake gives an amazing, fun performance. You feel for his character. This is one of the few times where I like my slasher villain in this, that I feel bad for him and I kind of root for him, even though I don't want him to succeed, if you know what I mean. And I don't mean to like root for him to kill people, but I kind of root for him maybe to get his life together or something. But yeah, if you get a chance, check out Dr. Giggles. It's a great flick from the 90s, and it's pretty good price right now. I think only paid like 20 something bucks for it. It is a little dark. I will say it is a little dark because it comes from a 2K scan from the Inner Positive. But however, I think if you just crank up your brightness just a tad, it won't bother you. It looks fine. But yeah, Dr. Giggles, guys, check it out and check it. If anybody watching has not seen my review, watch my review after the show. But Runner, what do you got for us? What's your next pick for the night?
My next pick tonight is a triple feature. It's a recent trilogy I just watched, and as a whole, I very much enjoyed it. I know you two probably find it a lot more funnier than me. Not that I didn't find this funny. I just think if I had seen this around the time it came out in the theaters, I would probably have like an even bigger laugh from it. I did get some laughs, don't get me wrong, but I've seen so much comedy to the point where like some comedy just like it's funny, but it's not as funny. You know what I mean?
I get you.
Yeah, this is one of those movies. Still fun overall. Probably one of the best James Bond parodies.
Oh, I know what you're going for. Oh, you're going to Austin Powers. I thought you were going for something else.
What did you think? What did you think I was going for?
I thought you. I don't know why, but my mind went to the Johnny English movies.
Oh no!
You probably have no idea what the Johnny English movies are.
I was gonna say I have no idea what the fuck those are.
Do you know Mr. Bean?
Yes.
It's his James Bond. It's his parody of James Bond.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Now I know what you're talking about.
I always forget Austin Powers is a parody of James Bond, but it's also a parody of other like Michael Caine spy movies, which is why Michael Caine plays his father in the last one.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
I knew Michael Caine played that. I didn't know it was a parody of.
It's like it's a combination of James Bond meets like Michael Caine did like his Get Carter and other like sort of spy movies he did around sort of the 70s. So
yeah, but no, I got this a while ago. I just haven't watched them till now. But and it's got the New Line Cinema logo right there.
Yeah, I like the movies. They're fun.
I wish my Ninja Turtles Blu-ray set had it, but it's got the Warner Brothers logo.
Yeah. My Ninja Turtles one has the New Line in the pizza. So
well, that's probably because it didn't come with the fucking 2007 movie.
No, it's just the first 3. I don't know why they got rid of Elizabeth Hurley. I think they were just doing the whole James Bond thing where like he gets a different woman.
Yeah, because she's in the beginning of the second movie.
Yeah,
she is, but she's a fembot.
Yeah, if you ever notice, there's a pattern with James Bond women's, like the women he falls in love with, tend to be the villain or tend to just be very disposable after the movie. So, yeah. So I think it was sticking into that tradition.
Yeah. That was a shame when that happened in the beginning of 2, because my God, she was so fucking hot.
She was hotter than I can't remember the blonde in the second, but she's not bad.
Oh, Heather Graham?
Heather Graham.
Yeah, I've never been a big fan of hers.
She's all right, but yeah, Elizabeth Hurley tops her.
She's pretty hot too, honestly. Not like Elizabeth Hurley, but she's not.
Don't even get me started on Beyonce though.
Yeah, that was. There's a reason the third one isn't as well liked as the first 2.
I'm Foxy Cleopatra.
The beginning of the third one's fucking hilarious though.
The best part about the third one is
it has some moments, but I was gonna say the problem with the third film is it's like it's the greatest hits of the first 2.
Yeah, pretty much. Is that the one where he drinks fat bastard shit? It's crunky. This
Yeah.
cookie tastes like shit.
Yes. No, that's the second one, I think.
I don't remember that. I just like that. I remember that from one of them. But I
That or
enjoyed
they
the first
copied it
one.
again in the third one. I can't remember now.
No,
Because that's the thing. The third one is full of repeat jokes from the first two movies.
Yeah. Kind of bringing him back from what he did in the first one.
That's why the third one felt kind of off-ish. But I didn't mind the plot twist in the third movie. Did you guys have a problem with that?
I hate that they're brothers.
Yeah, I kind of didn't like that they were brothers.
It was a little weird at first, but I didn't like. I just moved on. I was like, whatever.
It's just I don't know. And then like they tried to make Seth Green as like the next Dr. Evil. I didn't care for that. He said the Midas touch, but he touched it too much.
Either.
I like gold.
No, but the beginning of Goldmember's hilarious, where Steven Spielberg's making a Austin Powers movie.
Well, there you go. It's Spielberg and he's working with Tom Cruise again there, Runner.
I know, I was going to say Tom Cruise is in it. Dude, fucking Danny DeVito as Mini-Me is the greatest fucking thing ever. like I'm sorry. I like the guy who plays Mini-Me in the last two movies, but if Danny DeVito had taken that role, that would have been...
It would never have worked. That's why it's a joke in the beginning, because it would never really have worked.
I'm
ever.
Sorry, I would have fucking loved that.
Because originally it was just supposed to be Mike Myers' head CGI'd onto a little person.
Oh, that would have been terrible.
And so they decided that no, we'll just find someone that looks similar to you, and they did great casting with Vern Troyer there. So
yeah, they did do a good job casting wise. I kind of meant the whole Danny DeVito thing as a joke.
Yeah,
maybe that's because that's the one thing that made me laugh out loud in this entire like trilogy was when Danny DeVito shows up. I'm like, holy shit, that's fucking awesome. I
think the first two are the better movies.
Especially without a doubt.
Wasn't it the second one? You know, surprisingly the second one, if I remember, it dethroned Star Wars. It dethroned the Phantom, not the Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones. Austin Powers took down Attack of the Clones, took down Star Wars Part 2.
I don't remember that.
I think actually the second one came out at the same time as the episode 1.
Was it episode 1? I can't remember. I remember like knocked it down.
You want to know why I say that? Is because I remember we went to go see Austin Powers 2. It was sold out, and we ended up going to see episode 1 again, and I fell asleep during the pod race.
Now this is pod racing.
It's like, no, this is napping. Luckily, I woke up at the end when it goes, and I'm like, okay, I woke up during the best part at least.
That is the best part. That is the best part, honestly.
Yeah.
Of that movie. But
he's a tripod. But yeah, was it maybe it wasn't Phantom, because I remember Austin Powers, like it was a big deal because Austin Powers took down Star Wars.
Did the third one come out the same time as the third Star Wars movie though? That's plausible.
Goldmember came out in 2002. So that was before. That might have been around Attack of the Clones. Because Phantom Menace.
That could be what you're thinking of, Greg. Yeah.
Because Phantom Menace.
Maybe it did dethrone Attack of the Third one might have dethroned Attack of the Clones. That's plausible.
Revenge of the Sith came out in 2005. And then Attack of the Clones came out in 2002. So it had to be the Phantom Menace.
Well, also, Goldmember come out around the same time as Star Wars Episode 2, but that didn't come out until July 22nd. Star Wars would have been out for like 3 months at that point.
So let's see. Austin Powers.
Or 2 months, month and a half.
What's the second one called? Austin Powers.
The Spy Who Shagged Me.
The Spy Who Shagged Me came out in 99, and so did
Phantom Menace. Yeah.
Phantom Menace.
Yeah.
So
But
yeah,
I just remember that because like I said, we went to go see Austin Powers 2 and we couldn't get in because it was sold out.
Man.
But
yeah,
they had plenty of tickets for Phantom Menace.
But yeah, that just shows you the power back then. I mean, where those movies stood and everything. So, but yeah, I love the first two movies. The third movie, I know we've talked a little more about the third movie than I anticipated, but
Yeah, I know.
but I remember just I prefer the first two. I've seen
Yeah,
this
the first
third one
two,
at
the first
least.
two are the best of. Yeah, the first two are the best.
To me, the second film is actually the best, but yeah.
And the second one
like
is
the
a
first
better
film, but
yeah.
the second film takes what the first film did and elevates it, as opposed to the third film, which just feels like a greatest hits at that point.
Yeah.
Like, so.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things.
Yep.
But no, I mean, all three films are decent, but the first two obviously are leaps and bounds above the third. And the second one's just one of those rare occasions where you got a sequel that's actually better than the first one.
Yeah, I agree with you on that because like when the first one came out, it was like a flop almost, and it got really big on the like people renting it and stuff and seeing it over and over. So that's why they like. I think that's why it was so big when the second one came out. That's why they were kind of shocked that it took the number one spot away from Star Wars, is because everybody had really built up this like thing. And the second one actually is a better movie, it expands on it, and it sets you in this new Austin Powers world. And they had a bigger budget, and it was a better, well thought out movie than the first one. But the first one is pretty good too. So that's what I see. Hail Tim Hayes.
You know, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but you know who's my favorite fucking character in the entire trilogy?
The number 2.
What?
Number 2.
Number 2?
Who does number 2 work for?
I was gonna say fat bastard.
Oh, I figured as much.
Get in my belly.
Is it number 2 that
gotta take a crap?
That's a bad fat bastard.
I want my baby back ribs.
It's because I'm not happy. I'm unhappy because I eat.
It's a vicious cycle.
Hey, Tim, that's not how you spell her last name.
A lot of vagina.
A lot of vagina.
Pardon me, it was my food.
Is it any worse than Pussy Galore? I mean, really.
Right. I always love little kids' first reactions when they see the title of Pussy Galore or Octopussy with James Bond. When they see that, when they rented it, always like, look, what's that say? Can I say that?
I also like Mini Me. Mini Me's pretty good.
Yeah. It's
Mini Me.
Just the two of us. But yeah, it's a nice little pickup there, Runner. I think we've talked Austin Powers. So, Tom, what do you any words you want to say there before we send it over to Tom, Runner?
No, it's overall I enjoy it for what it was. Yeah.
I will say one thing about that Blu-ray, because when that set came out, that was the first time Austin Powers had ever come to Blu-ray. All of them, actually, for that matter. And for some weird reason, they decided to crop off the first film into 240:1 aspect ratio. The film is actually not 240:1. It's actually closer to standard 16:9. It's actually shot at 2:1, basically the same aspect ratio Jurassic World is in. For some weird reason, they decided to crop it off on the Blu-ray edition. I could not tell you why.
That's weird.
Just to match it up with the other two movies, I guess. But yeah, because actually that's one of those few films that on the DVD it has that widescreen, the other widescreen edition where it's 2:1, and they have the open matte, and of course the open matte has even more shit on the screen because it's shot in Super 35. That's why. So yeah, it's weird and it kind of bothers me because I'm like, why did they do that?
Yeah. I get you. That would now I'm going to be bothered when I watch it if I watch it.
Because you are missing a little bit at the top and the
Yeah,
bottom of the screen.
yeah. Interesting. I wonder if they'll ever fix them if he ever decides to do a fourth one.
I don't know.
All right. What do you got for us, Tom? What's your second pick of the night?
Yeah, like Tim said, 240, 235 are pretty close, but 2-1 is a much difference. It's actually 2-1 is almost like it's 2.0 to 1 or 2.0 to 1. So it's basically like 16:9, but it's like about where my name ends at the top there, and then add like maybe a quarter of an inch at the top of the screen or whatever, depending on what size of screen you're looking at. Yeah, just barely, like some chunky black lines, but not nearly the chonky ones you get when you're watching a film that's shot in 235 or 240. Right. So yeah, it's kind of like a mind-boggling head scratcher. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh, no.
And I remembered it specifically because that's such a rare aspect ratio.
Weird.
It's because it's in between 16:9 or 185 and 240. That's why I'm like, okay, that's weird. Or 235, whatever. All right. Anyway, moving on. Speaking of weird, here's a movie I don't really remember much about watching, but I did watch. It's how do I put this? It's basically a Blade solo film from the Puppet Master series. I'm trying to remember the plot. There's like this weird doctor. There's these zombie creatures. The effects aren't too bad, but you can tell a lot of the times it's a dude in a suit in front of a blue screen and they just shrunk him down. Which isn't a bad effect sometimes.
No.
This mad scientist rises with murder and mayhem on his mind. Psychic journalist Eliza Ivanov awakens her own angel of death in Blade. So, like, yeah, she's got, like, this psychic connection with him. Together, the pair set out to stop Dr. Hauser's sinister plot and hammer him back into hell where he belongs. It was basically like a net series, or I'm assuming it was made for their streaming network. And they just put it together as a movie, and it's, like, just barely over an hour long. It wasn't too bad, though. It was fun enough-ish.
That's the one I haven't seen. I have not seen the Blade solo movie. So I have seen another one, which I know we'll talk about later. But yeah,
it was part of this Deadly 10 series too. So like, that's the other thing you got to keep in mind too. Is like, I guess this was part of their deal where they had 10 of their most prolific directors doing these things, and they each had like 2 days each to shoot their film or whatever it was, or their project. So this was shot in like 2 days or something like that too, if I remember right. But yeah, it's all right. It's not that bad. It's pretty good.
I like
not nearly as good as the other ones. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they vary from good to bad to good to bad good. You know what I mean? So I have to check that one out. That's one I'll have to. Good thing I still have. Oh, shoot, that reminds me. This is March. Okay, I have 2 more months. My full moon subscription. I had the year subscription is coming up. Yeah. But yeah, I'll have to check that up on Full Moon and watch the Blade because I haven't seen the Blade movie. It's interesting. That's I don't know. I can't talk about it. So
it was
and I know
a couple
Redner
years
hasn't
back
seen it.
too. What year did this come out? I think it was 2017. 2020. I was wrong. 2020. Not as old as I thought. I think because that was the thing is like I saw a preview for this one on the next movie I'm going to talk about, and I'm like, did I watch that? Because that don't look familiar. I think I always keep getting this one mixed up with the other Axis Termination trilogy thing they had going on.
Yeah.
With the last 3, so like yeah.
The Puppet Master Axis
Plus
of Evil.
Mixing up with the fucking remake that sucks.
Still haven't seen the remake, and I'm glad I haven't because everybody keeps saying it sucks. So I'm like, yeah, I don't
watch it again.
I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'll wait for you to watch it again and tell me, and then I'll make up my mind then.
No, that's my quick one for tonight, though. So there you go.
All right, that's cool. I guess this might be my quick one for the night. This is the only movie I brought tonight that isn't horror. I think even Runner may have seen this one. I don't know. But I want a little Jean-Claude Van Damme. So I got Double Impact. this isn't the MVD which came out a while back. This is the MGM release. Not a bad looking scan. Of course, now we know MGM used to just up convert the
Double impact.
double impact. Used to just convert the DVD on there. Yeah, it was all right. It's just as bad and cheesy as I remember. I had fun with it. I loved it.
I'm apologizing for that. Well, the reason I do that, if you listen to Mead Radio, you've probably heard my double impact radio commercial I have on there.
Yeah.
And what's funny about it is it must have been from obviously a California market or something like that. Because it's like, coming soon, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Jean-Claude Van Damme in Double Impact. Ooh, Double Impacto. Like, you got this guy in the background doing this shit. I'm like, he's like, oh, yeah. He's like saying like stuff in Spanish. And it's like, I don't know if it's a DJ at the station or if that was just like basically the best they got for a translated version or what?
Double Impacto.
Yeah, he's like, oh, yeah, Double Impacto, Double Jean-Claude. It's like...
Just put it out there. Nobody in California will notice.
And shit like that. It's just like, what the fuck? Here, let me see if I can find it for you.
Oh, dude. But I do like this movie. It is right up my alley. Runner, have you seen this one? Because I know you bought the Jean-Claude Van Damme pack.
I surprisingly have not seen that. I don't know if it comes into that one I don't know if it came in that Van Damme set that I got that was from Mill Creek. I don't know if that comes with that. It might, but I don't know.
I don't know. I don't think it might be in one of the sets.
I don't remember. This is the only one I've had. I've been meaning to check out the MVD one.
Yeah, I was gonna say because MVD released it. I got that one anyway. So this is funny, man.
Jean-Claude Van Damme always creates an impact. Now, get ready for Double Impact.
Doble Impacto.
Starring Jean-Claude Van Damme as twin brothers torn apart by violence.
Gemelos?
Now,
Gemelos?
they're back together, teamed up to track down the brutal criminals who killed their parents and stole their fortune.
Asesinos? Wow.
Double Van Damme. One packs a punch. One packs a piece.
Pura acción.
Studio action.
Think about it.
Double Impact. Starring Jean-Claude Van Damme and Jean-Claude Van Damme
Dos?
from Columbia Pictures.
Dos?
Rated R. Under 17, not admitted without parent or adult.
Oh, no.
Check the newspapers for locations and for showtimes, call the Hot 97 movie phone at 777 film.
So I don't know if that was like their remix of it or what, but like it's just like what the fuck? I play that on Mead Radio.
Who the hell's doing the oh no? And
I don't know. That's what I was like. Is that like some DJ at the station and they like just redubbed over it, or because like at the end there it does break into the Hot 97 deal or whatever. So that was obviously the local station's deal. So I don't know if they did it or if it's just for the Spanish market, perhaps. Because obviously if maybe it's out of California or somewhere in like New Mexico or Arizona or something, like maybe they got a Spanish channel or something like that they were pushing it on, but who knows?
Oh no!
Now I want to see the fucking movie after this show.
The movie is great. I like the movie. It's the right amount of cheesy and camp. Jean-Claude Van Damme is at the top.
The
of
most unbelievable thing in the movie is that one of the versions of Jean-Claude Van Damme is like a cellist or some shit.
No, he's a ballet dancer. He does
ballet dancer.
He's a dancer. Yeah, like
I couldn't remember. Now it's been like 30 years since I seen it. Yeah.
But it starts off in Hong Kong and which is funny. I love how they explain why they're both French, which is ridiculous.
I can see him being a ballet dancer just because he can do the splits.
Yeah, that's basically what it is. So it starts off in Hong Kong. These like rich like British parents are like building this tunnel in Hong Kong, and then they get murdered. They have twin sons, and they get murdered with pretty freaking violently. It's like horror movie murder style. Like when they get shot, like there's meat and blood, and like they blow the mom's head off. It's pretty nasty. So they get killed, and Jeffrey Lewis is oh no. Perfect.
Sorry.
It's perfect. And then Jeffrey Lewis was supposed to be their bodyguard, but like they gave him the night off, so he gets there too late. And the nanny takes one of the kids, and he takes the other kid, and he takes the one that he saves back to America. Right. Or actually, to France first, and then the nanny takes the other kid to a French nunnery in Hong Kong. So that's how they explain they're both French when they meet, because they both had the same accent. And then they end up, Jeffrey Lewis, and one ends up in Los Angeles, and he's teaching like a ballet. He's to a bunch of the women, teach them how to do ballet splits and everything. And he knows karate. And the other one's like running a bar casino type thing. Like he's the tough badass one who's grew up on the street. He's got the 5 o'clock shadow, slits his hair back, and then so they find out they're brothers, and then they come together to get revenge on the triad, or I keep wanting to say triad, but they like the mobsters, the Hong Kong mobsters, and the guy that hired to hit on their parents. That's the whole movie. It's a pretty fun movie. I liked it. It was I thought it was a pretty decent flick still to this day. So yeah, Chad and Alex were their names. Yeah, Chad and Alex were their names. So yeah, Runner,
Double
I think
impacte.
Double impacte. Oh no.
Dos?
Dos. I love that. Dos. I think you would totally love it, Runner. It's a fun one. It's a fun one. Oh yeah, and Bolo. Yeah, and I noticed it was the first time I noticed in that watching the rewatch is they do the kickboxer that he was in. Which one was it that he was in that he fought Van Damme?
I think so.
It's either kickboxer
or
Bloodsport. It's Bloodsport because kickboxer's tongue cut.
Yeah, it was Bloodsport.
Okay,
yeah.
It's Bloodsport. The scene in Bloodsport when Van Damme, he's like blind and he punches him in the balls and he's going screaming. Yeah, they reversed that in Double Impact. This time when he goes to kick Bolo, he gets his leg up in there. Bolo punches him in the balls and does the little scream and then kicks him backwards. So I noticed that for the first when I was watching that back on the replay this time. So yeah, so they kind of do that reverse in that. So yeah, it was a pretty fun movie. It's a great action flick from the 90s. So I definitely think you'd like it, Runner. But that was my non-horror pick for the night.
I'll definitely watch that after that fucking trailer thing we watched. That audio, that's fucking great.
And I didn't even mention the boobs in the movie. Till now.
Let me watch it. Now I really gotta watch the movie now.
All right. What do you got first, Runner? What's your next pick?
Speaking of Van Damme, Hong Kong, and you also mentioned Bloodsport. Yeah. I have this.
Oh, there you go.
About time you did it right.
Finally, he knew how to do it.
Time Cop is probably his best movie too.
Yeah, Time Cop.
Time Cop is good. Time Cop's damn good.
It has some of my favorite time travel rules in it too.
Yeah, the ripple effect thing, and
and you can't occupy the same space
at the same time.
Yeah.
He hasn't watched Time Cop yet.
No, I've seen Time Cop.
He does the splits on the counter.
It does. Yeah,
that's great.
And you know what else it plays it too? Because Ferris Bueller's girlfriend is his girlfriend in Time Cop.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. So
Mia
you
Sarah?
kind of Mia Sarah.
And you just want him to go back and save his wife. So sad.
I do like the little bloop, bloop, when they tell how like he's pushing through like the veil when they time travel and they come popping out. I do like how they do that. Yeah,
I think that the outside of Back to the Future, I would almost say that maybe Time Cop. Look, I'm kind of a time travel junkie because the thing is it doesn't work in movies. They never get it right.
Yeah.
The only 2 times that I've really argued that they probably have done it, what I would say in my understanding and opinion of it all, if it was to be plausible, would be Back to the Future and Time Cop. And I think Time Cop actually thought about it a little bit more scientifically. So yeah.
It is. It's a fun movie, and I agree that like when they go back in time and stuff, how they change things and how it can be noticed through a certain algorithm type thing.
Yeah,
I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, I thought that was pretty interesting. But yes, you also get doubled Van Damme in Time Cop as well.
That's right.
Yeah.
You get the
Dos?
Van Damme. Dos.
Yeah, Dos.
Dos.
Yeah, the double feature.
Yeah, and Bloodsport's a great movie too.
Yeah,
I
Bloodsport's fun.
Yeah.
I like Bloodsport. It's fun.
Speaking
I
of
love.
It's complete bullshit, but it's fun.
yeah, Frank Du is not really as badass as he claimed to be.
I was gonna say, like, when it said like based on a true story, I'm like, I bet a ton of this is bullshit.
It is. It is.
Without
like,
even knowing.
Did you guys watch the review RLM did with? They did a couple movies at once, but they did Cocaine Bear as one of them recently. Red Letter Media.
I didn't.
No, it was hilarious because they were talking about
too
how it was inspired by true events is always used by horror movies and stuff like that. And they said they should do it. We should have a code for movies that claim to be based on stories that are based on a true story, like 10 being the most accurate, 1 being the least accurate. And they're like, because Cocaine Bear would be like a 1.
Yeah.
So like this one, Bloodsport would be like a -5.
It's bull altogether.
It's got like 1 less negative point than Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I get into arguments with fucking chodes online all the time about that shit. They're like, "Oh, that shit's real, dog. I know somebody who I know somebody that happened to."
There's like a whole
And then, of course-
Go ahead.
And then to make it worse, because I can't even remember the name, but they quote the name that is in the new remake. I'm like, you dumb fuckers, that ain't even his name. Like, first of all, his name is Jebediah Bubba Sawyer. And it's the Sawyer family, and it's loosely, and I use the term loosely, loosely, based on Ed Gein. Okay,
Right.
which is a far cry from fucking Texas, and Ed never used no goddamn chainsaw.
Actually, he only ever killed 2 people too, and he dug up all the
I was going
graves.
to say,
and
and actually, it's
everything.
very questionable how many people he actually killed, making him a serial killer.
Yeah,
Right, 'cause there's that
his mom
thing,
and
too.
one woman that showed up, and that was it.
The only other thing is that there's also his, I don't know if he did kill his mom. He did possibly kill his brother, though. That's the thing. I have to go back and look. But, like, because his mom devastated him when she died. In fact, that's where he went off the rails.
That's where Psycho is from.
Yeah, because him and his mom had such a close relationship that was kind of like when he changed a lot. But the rumor is that he always killed his brother because his brother died in a hunting accident. Mm-hmm. Everybody thinks that's the first person he killed. So that would technically, I believe, make him a serial killer because I think he did kill 2 other women plus his brother. Because I don't think he killed his mother. But he did, I think, dig her back up.
Yeah, he was more of a grave robber than anything.
That's just it. He was more of a grave robber than he was an actual killer.
Cereal bowls out of skulls and everything. It's creepy. But yeah, I agree with you. And yeah, Bloodsport is a fun movie, and it is full of crap. Now, I actually got to think about this. I can't remember which one is on HBO Max right now. Is it Bloodsport or Kickboxer? Does anybody know?
I always get them screwed up unless I see what shorts he's wearing.
Speaking of which, just saw it today. I can't remember if it's Bloodsport or Kickboxer. It's the most watched movie on HBO Max right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes. I can't remember if it was Bloodsport or Kickboxer. I cannot remember which one they said because whoever knows.
Is it more watched like overall?
It's the number 1 most watched movie on HBO Max.
I think that might be regional, but it could be overall.
It could be overall.
I know Netflix, when they show theirs, it varies wherever you're at by location because it actually goes by a quadrant. Right. Like, it'll just show you what's most popular in your area, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I don't know how HBO Max works, so it's hard to say, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know how it works. I just saw it today. I can't. Whoever's got HBO, I don't have it on or anything, but I look up whatever one it is, Bloodsport or Kickboxer, that's on there. But that is the most watched movie on HBO Max right now.
It's more watched than, well, I know it's a TV show, but is it more watched than The Last of Us?
It's the number 1 watched movie. I don't know about TV series. They said it was the number 1 watched movie on HBO Max right now.
That'd be amazing if it was more watched.
Well, let's see if it comes up for me. I think I can share this. Oh, do I got a new South Park to watch? Oh, no, that's just the old one. Let's see here.
Let's see.
We just added. Where is it at here? Popular movies. That's a popular one here, and then House Party for some fucking reason. The popular TV is these two. Is that what it is? Popular or?
I don't know. They just said it was the most watched. They didn't say it was the most popular. Well, I guess that would mean the most popular.
That's what I thought. Yeah, so I think it's regional. Might be.
It's got to be. Let me see.
Because the only dumb fuckers around here would be watching goddamn House Party. Pardon my French. Yeah, because I'm not seeing anything that's like most watched.
Looking it up.
We got hand-to-hand combat. I'm surprised it's not in there. Kung Fu Panda is.
Trying to see if I can find the story that I saw earlier, but it looks like it might be Bloodsport. Dang. I wish I would have saved that earlier. Bloodsport is on HBO Max. Yeah, I know that, but I want to know the most watched, where I heard that from. I mean, it was when I typed search, it was coming up in search, but it didn't bring up the article. So, let's see if I click this here, see what happens. Not sure. Okay. Anyways, if anybody can find it, let me know because I'm not seeing it. But I heard it today, but it could have changed and it could be regional. But as far as I can tell, that's what they were saying. It was the most watched movie on there. But good pick there, Runner. At least you hit the nail on the head. You got it tonight, right after my pick. So finally,
there was a Bloodsport 2 with Mr. Miyagi.
There was a third one too.
I see that.
Yeah, I saw I saw that.
Shit, James Hong's ain't even in it. Sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, like, I heard about all that like after I watched the movie, and I'm like, did they just start like making knockoffs as the Karate Kid with the sequels?
Pretty much. I mean, Kickboxer. They did 2 Kickboxer movies right after that, or like 3 Kickboxer movies.
Well, they made 3 Bloodsport movies. But by the way, I want to tell you something about Bloodsport. You know the kid that plays Frank, like younger Frank?
Oh yeah.
In the movie. One of the worst acting I've ever seen in my life. Holy shit.
Well, it was the 80s and it was low budget and
I know,
and
but it's like
it's hard to match Van Damme's accent, so
it's not.
I think they dubbed him.
No, like I feel like they pulled the kid like out of the street, or they just, or what? I don't know what they did. They were just like, hey kid, you want a gig? Here, come over here. You want to be in a Van Damme movie, but not meet Van Damme or any of that? Here you go. We'll pay a little bit, and you don't need any experience. We don't need a great actor or anything. Just come on in. Like I feel like they just pulled him out of the street just to get him just to make sure he doesn't get hit by a car or anything, and they just pulled him on set.
Just whoever would work for the cheapest amount of money, they could give him.
Exactly. like that, like it's one of those actors. I'm like, holy shit. I'm like, because that's the type of actor you go like, there's no way in hell this dude took acting classes or even thought about doing acting.
Like you said, man, it's low budget. They had to do something.
I know it's hilarious. That's all. It's just fucking hilarious. But Time Cop's a damn good movie.
Time Cop is a great movie. That's a great. I have that set too. I actually have that set too. Same set.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I think
it's great movies.
It was released by Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
And doesn't Bloodsport like have like a import 4K?
Yeah, I think it's Turbine might have done the 4K. Who did the Texas Chainsaw and all that?
Yeah, because I'm waiting for a US release for that.
They'll probably be coming sometime later this year or something.
Yeah.
Usually after they do the 4K
I'd love a 4K release of Time Cop.
I
done
don't
right.
think Time Cop has a 4K scan. I think it's just that
Well,
Blu-ray.
if it does, then that'd be great.
I really thought metal shin pads would be takeoff in the future as fashion trend. All right, Tom, are you ready for your next pick? It's your turn, right? I think.
I think so.
Okay, what do you got?
Sticking with the full moon features, I also saw Dr. Death, which you have seen as well.
Yes, I like
This is this is a real quick paced, hour long. I think it was also comprised of a few shorts. And it's actually directed by a friend of ours, Robert Meyer Burnett's friend, Dave Parker. So, yeah, basically the outline, though, you kind of covered this in a video and before on the show, but yeah, Dr. Death is, of course, known from the Puppet Master series, and this is his return since last being seen, I believe, in Retro Puppet Master. And it's a very excellent, okay, when I say excellent for what it is, this is going off of the fact that it was made for $1 and a pack of gum. You clearly tell it was made for nothing. But it has an interesting enough story. There's some stuff in here that's really kind of wackadoo, but at the same time, it's like it ain't no more wackadoo than any of the other Puppet Master films were before it. You can tell Dave Parker's doing the best he can with what he's got to work with, which it shows. I mean, the effort shows through. It actually has a decent little twist at the end I didn't even really see coming. And I thought it was actually kind of interesting. So I was like, oh. And they even show you a little bit. You're like, oh, I guess I should have seen it. Kind of something to that effect. But I guess maybe I would have had I watched Blade first. Because now, after I saw this and then I watched Blade in reverse, I started to kind of see a pattern there. So I'm wondering what the next one is going to be. So I have a feeling this is the second in a long line of these.
Yeah.
So maybe the next one will be Tunneler or something like that. Who knows? But yeah.
It's the full moon version of the Marvel universe. They're going to bringing them all back together, sort of.
Kind of in a weird way, but not. Like I don't see a problem with this. I don't have a problem with this. I mean, it's still sticking within the continuity as best it can. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the Blade movie. I mean, some of it's a little loosey-goosey, but I mean, like I said, these movies are made for next to nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would love to have the opportunity to make some kind of Puppet Master project for Charlie Band someday. It'd be amazing. But
that would be awesome.
Yeah.
I actually spoke with the guy that dies in the beginning of the movie there. On here on my channel. It was all filmed at the Full Moon Manor up in Cleveland, Ohio. All filmed in that one house that they have. So you could tell that, they did their best. And he said Dave Parker was pretty cool telling him how to, scream and stuff in the beginning. But yeah, I thought it worked. I liked it. And I liked the little flashbacks to the retro Puppet Master and stuff. So it really felt like, they did their best at connecting it to the movies as best they could. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, I liked it. All right.
Yeah.
For what it is.
It's a nice little, it's hour long, gives you everything you want, gives you the blood, it gives you I thought that, the puppet was pretty good. I thought the what he does to the doctor, what he does to it, how that, manipulates it into a puppet, And I thought that was a really great special effect. So, I don't want to spoil too much for anybody who hasn't seen the movie. But it is worth the watch, and you got to give it to that Full Moon. Granted, they're small budgets, quick movies, but they do their best they possibly can for what they got, and they know their audience. They know what to give them, so it's fun. It's fun. Yes, physical media for the win always. I mean, that's what we're here for.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Their universe doesn't have a real clear set of rules either. Yeah, that's my brother. Me and him, that's my brother. We used to stay up. Oh man, we rented I think like the first 4 or 5, Jeremy, and we watched. We had a little like a VCR TV set, like I showed you, that I have, and we would watch them in our room. They were blasts. I love the Puppet Master movies. That's why I remember them the most from the Full Moon catalog. But yeah, that's pretty cheap Blu-ray too, right? It's only like $15, I believe. So
I think it was like 15 or 10 maybe, but it's only an hour long, literally like 59 minutes.
yeah, it's really short, but it's fun. So, all right, I get you. What is it my turn now? You want to move on to me?
Sure, unless you had more to say about it, yeah.
No. Oh, thank you, my brother, new member. Thank you.
Nice.
That's my brother. I'm glad to have you here.
Like literally.
Yeah, literally. That's literally my brother.
Thanks for becoming a channel member, bro.
Appreciate you. I'll text you later. You motherfucker.
He'll text you all the perks and everything you need to know.
Okay, so I went back and I watched a couple horror sequels, and this will be one of the first one. This is a sequel. Some people don't like this. I liked it, especially this time around, and that would be, if I can start my camera here, The Fly Part 2, which should have been called The Son of the Fly. With Eric Stoltz and Daphne Zugna. I never know how to say her last name. I enjoy this movie. It was actually pretty fun. I didn't have a problem with it. Am I crackling? Am I messing up? How do I sound?
You
sound really bad. Yeah.
I was going to say it's running pretty slow when I was clicking the buttons. Oh,
all I heard was something about Zuni Noogie.
Let me see if I can fix this again real quick. Am I sounding any better? No, I guess not.
You were for a second until you said guess not, but yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can fix this real quick. I'll try another. Let's see. Any better?
No, now you sound like you're coming through a tin can.
Let me see. How about now? Oh, this is
better mic, but
great. And my internet still looks like it's not has lost a bar or anything. So awesome. Anyways, if you guys didn't hear me, if you can make me out now, The Fly Part 2 is what I picked.
God, it's like someone's kicking your microphone.
Oh, this is bullshit.
Give
me a minute.
Poor Greg.
Give me a minute. Let me try something again. Let's see. All right. What about now?
You sound fine.
Sound
fine.
Far.
Okay. If it sounds good, okay. I watched The Fly Part 2.
Oh, son of a bitch! It's back. just for that one bit. That's it.
Oh.
I think we're just gonna have to run with it.
This is weird. All right. If anybody can hear me and make me out, whatever. I watched The Fly Part 2 with Eric Stoltz. I thought it was a fun movie. I enjoyed it this time around more than I did when I first saw it around. It's not as good as Cronenberg's The Fly, but it was fun. Yeah, I don't know what to say. So, because I don't know if people can hear me or not.
Yeah, you're still coming through fine so far.
Okay. But yeah, I got it in the Fly box set I have from Shout Factory, Scream Factory, and I haven't seen it in a long time. And I've been going through the flies here and there that I got that from the set, and it's just basically he's the son of the Fly, Jeff Goldblum's son. Even though what's her name's not in it. They recast her and she dies in the beginning of the movie giving birth. He grows up unnaturally fast. And he's controlled in this scientific lab, and he becomes the Fly and all that good stuff. It's a good, nice little creature feature, great little sci-fi B movie, and I listened to Mick Garris on there because Mick Garris is one of the writers credited for the movie. I don't think his movie that he thinks would have been better. I'm not so sure. I mean, I knew he was trying to keep it in spirit of Cronenberg and make it a little more adult. He didn't want to make a teenage monster movie because the studio wanted a more of a mainstream teenage monster movie than the first Fly. But I don't think his ideal of the baby being adopted by Christian evangelist, you know what I'm saying, evangelicist, and thinking that he's like the second coming or something. I don't think that would have been as good as he thinks it would have been. But then again, we never really got to see that carried out. So who knows? But yeah, there you go. I saw The Fly Part 2. Any words from anybody that can understand me?
I sadly have not seen it in years. I just know that movie is the reason why Chris Walas did not work on Gremlins 2, doing the Gremlin effects, because he actually directed that movie. So
Yeah, you're right. He did a great job on the fly effects in that, and it's so sad that he didn't get to do Gremlins. So, yeah. So, Runner, I guarantee you've never seen any of the Flies, have you?
Unfortunately, no. I know Cronenberg's Fly is on my list of movies to watch. Should I watch the original one though first, or
no? You don't. No, you don't need to see the original Fly to get Cronenberg's Fly.
Okay. But I feel like that's why I've been holding off on it, because I know a lot of people talk about Cronenberg's Fly more than any of the other Flies.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. The original Fly is a good movie. It's a classic, but it's the type of movie where you see, you know what, that movie can be remade. It's not like a movie where Cronenberg's Fly is so huge people would look at Cronenberg's Fly and go, that movie doesn't need remade. Don't remake Cronenberg's Fly. You know what I mean? That's how you do a remake. And there are like little nods to the original Fly in Cronenberg's version, but they're so like obscure like within the movie. Yeah, they're like, so it's his own little thing. It's like a completely different story altogether.
Speaking of David Cronenberg, did you hear about Did you hear about that one movie that his son made, Infinity Pool?
Yeah, with the chick from Mia Goth.
Yeah, Mia Goth and Alexander Skarsgård. I've heard people say that movie's better than Cronenberg's latest film. I've heard people say that, and they were like, "Hey, Cronenberg's kid has like he made a better movie than his fucking dad."
I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I've heard about it, but I haven't heard much about it.
Because his last movie, I have not heard good things about his last movie. It was a Crimes of the Future or something.
Yeah, Crimes of the Future. Yeah. But hey, there you go. That's actually a pretty good deal. Actually, I think I got mine for $25, if I'm honest, but I got it on a sale.
Oh boy, I would definitely get that for $25.
Yeah, I think I bought mine for $25. It's all this, the original Fly, the Son of the Fly. I can't remember the third original Fly, and then Cronenberg's Fly, and then the second Fly.
Return
and it's
of
only
Fly.
Yeah, Return of Fly was the third Fly, and then Cronenberg's Fly, and then the Fly 2. And it's the only set where you can get Cronenberg's Fly and the Fly 2 on Blu-ray. You can't get it those separately from Shout Factory. I'm sure there's other like Blu-rays out there, imports that you can get, but it's the only way you can get those movies on Blu-ray. Period.
Oh, nice.
In the U.S. at least.
I might get that set then.
The Shout Factory versions, I mean.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. But I enjoyed The Fly too. I remember a lot of people didn't like it, and especially after Cronenberg, how do you top it? And I think over time it's gained a little bit of a appreciation, much like some other sequels like Exorcist 3 and all that. And but I do have another sequel I watched tonight that that a lot of people hate. I hate it. You'll have to find out whether or not I hated it or liked it the one that you get to that again. But with that being said, Runner, what do you have?
All right, this movie right here, I just bought this steelbook today at Best Buy. I know.
Fuck
great.
yes, man.
I feel like I haven't said that in so long.
I haven't. I felt good saying it. I think I might have to say it again. Fuck your Best Buy.
Your Best Buy. Fuck your Best Buy. Fuck your Best Buy. Fuck your Best Buy. Fuck your Best Buy in the eye.
I couldn't tell if you were gonna say ass or what, but it ended up being I. That hurts.
Because it rhymes.
Oh yeah, it does rhyme.
He doesn't get it.
I didn't think about that. I'm willing to bet this is gonna get an individual 4K release because it got a 4K on one of the Columbia Classic, not Columbia, yeah, the Columbia Classics, one of the collections I know, but it's probably one of Ivan Reitman's best, next to Ghostbusters. Stripes.
Ha ha! I got the 4K.
I know you have the 4K. I can't get it because I have to like buy the fucking set.
Arbitrating, sir.
Go ahead, Verner.
No, but Best Buy they I thought I watched I forgot whose video it was. You know those videos where people like record their shoppings like every Tuesday and all that. Like I watched one video where someone was like, "Hey, if you see some like you know like they just dropped some of these like they re-released these Stripes steel books. Is like try to see if your local Best Buy has them." And then I did, and I'm like, "Oh shit, they do have some of those."
That reminds me that you know Cool Duder, you know who does those?
Who?
His name is Cool Duder. He does those like videos like going to Best Buy and stuff. It's Sean some I can't remember his last name.
Sean Phillips. Yeah, I've been talking to him.
Yeah, he followed me and I've been talking to him about his new movie.
I was going to see about having him on 4K for you, yeah.
Yeah, he just followed me and he's been talking to me about his new movie. So
You said Cool Duder?
Yeah, Cool Duder. Sean Phillips, that's his name. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's been around for a while, and he makes like indie movies and stuff like that.
Yeah. I've watched his videos. He's cool.
Yeah.
I haven't watched some of his more recent stuff, but I did watch him like months ago. I don't know why. There's so many other channels I watch that are physical media involved. It's hard to watch everyone, you know.
I get you.
But I do watch it. I have watched his stuff. That's cool. That's cool that he talked to you guys actually.
Yeah. He's alright. He seems like a pretty cool guy. So
yeah, but I wanted to get this just because I love this movie. I really do. I had to get it.
Here's a question for you. Does it come with the extended cut?
Yes.
There you go, Steven.
It does. I think it specifically said that in the back. I have the paper back slip somewhere in the back, but yeah, it does. I assume it's gonna get an individual 4K release at some point. It has to, but they're taking such a long ass fucking time to do that. So
is that the one, the Columbia box set where it's like almost all of them have an individual one, but that one, is that the one you guys talk about? I can't remember.
No, that's the first one.
That's the first one. Okay.
No, because was it Doctor Strangelove ended up getting an individual release later. So did Lawrence of Arabia got a exclusive steelbook recently, and I got that.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And shit, I forgot. I would love. I'm surprised they haven't released Jerry Maguire yet on 4K, like individually. That would because that came.
Show me the money.
Show me the money. That's how you say it.
Yeah, I don't care.
I like black people.
Anyways,
but the second box set's great because it's got Taxi Driver, it's got Stripes, and it's got The Social Network, even though that was shot on digital.
nice.
The third one, on the other hand, isn't all that impressive to me. It's probably got some decent ones in there. It's just, who wants to get Annie on 4K? I'm sorry.
Oh, don't lie. You
I
want
don't
to
think
get
it's
it?
that bad. I talked about it already.
Yeah.
The
No,
sun will
I'm not.
come out tomorrow. Bet your
Tomorrow.
bottom dollar
I'm not.
that tomorrow.
I'm not.
Tomorrow.
I'm not saying I dislike Annie. I'm just saying there's no reason for me to buy it on 4K. You know what I mean?
I get you.
I just don't have a real reason to own it. You know, like that. Like that's the shit. That's the type of shit my sister likes.
But Stripes, how your
Stripes,
thoughts
it's
on
a
it?
good
Talk a
movie.
little bit about it.
And I know. I think didn't. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tom. Don't you have the criticism with Stripes like you do with Full Metal Jacket, where like they go to war or whatever?
Yes,
Like
it feels like two movies in one.
Mm-hmm.
I think the end of the climax of the movie, much like with Full Metal Jacket, happens in the middle of the movie when they graduate, and then the war bit feels like this should be a sequel.
yeah,
Because this is like Stripes, their first
I understand.
assignment.
It's like police. It should be like Police Academy.
Exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm getting. Because like it's like, okay, you're getting along in the tooth here, guys. I mean, it's fun, but it's like it feels completely like a totally different movie. And the extended cut even makes the shit longer. So
There you go, Runner.
but I can actually watch it all the way through, as opposed to Full Metal Jacket. I usually shut it off about midway through, usually in my history.
Tom's cutting in and out from my end, so it's hard to hear him. But that's probably from my end.
Am I cutting out?
Not
For you,
on
Greg?
my end. No, not on my end.
You're clicky for me, Greg, but you're fine
That's a me
for
problem
me,
then,
Runner.
because Greg's cutting off.
It sounds
Now
like
you
we're
just cut out.
yeah. Guess we're both having internet troubles tonight.
Mine sounds worse.
All right, keep talking.
Okay, I can hear you a little bit better now. Can you talk, please?
Yeah, I can
Okay,
talk.
that sounds way better. Okay,
All
maybe
right, that's good.
my internet's probably fine. But no, I like Stripes. Honestly, I liked it even more when they I liked it even more when it got to the last half, to be honest with you.
Nice. Okay.
Cuz I like the van and shit. It kind of reminded me of the Ninja Turtles truck. It reminded me a lot of that, with like how the inside of it and all that was, and the weapons and shit. I liked all that. I love the march for like the graduation, and that whole routine that Bill Murray did. I thought was incredible. It's one of the greatest Bill Murray things in cinematic history, probably. It's I gotta rewatch it in order to really quote it, because you'd have to seen this. I guarantee you that's something Tom could probably quote like right now. The type of shit that he says during that graduation march that he does.
Yeah, some of it. That's what I mean. It's kind of like a climax at that point. I mean, I mean, I get it. A lot of people have no problems with the second half of the film. It just, to me, it's like, okay, your movie's still going when it ended.
Yeah, I thought it was better when it got to that point, but that's just me.
It's always just you, Runner. It's always just you.
See, but like going back to Full Metal Jacket, I will admit that the first half of that movie is better than the last half. Even though I love the movie, even though I love that movie as a whole, I understand where people are coming from, like Tom, about that movie. You know what I mean? Like Stripes, I think it's fine the way it is.
Okay. Well, we'll have to see if it gets a standalone 4K release soon or later. That
It
is a
probably.
decent looking steelbook, though.
I would think it. I would think it will. And speaking of Ivan Reitman, and Ghostbusters and all that, I guess they started shooting the new movie.
Yeah, in London.
Yeah, with I don't know who the director is, but there was like a photo of it. I don't know if the movie's gonna be called Firehouse, but because
I
that's
think
what
I
the
think that's what it's called, ain't it? Ghostbusters Firehouse or Coding Firehouse or something. I don't know.
I think
I'm
that's
not.
the shooting.
The shooting
I don't know.
title.
Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah, I'm
say
not sure
like
what it's going to be yet.
I was gonna say part of me feels like it's not going to be called that. I feel like they're gonna name it later. But
Yeah, I think they will.
no, I think I'm pretty psyched for
Nice.
for that. Because I
Is the
think
cut?
was it Jason Reitman's just gonna produce it.
Oh,
He's
he's
not
not
directing
directing.
it.
Well, let's hope it turns out good. I mean, they've got some
It
good people behind it, so
yeah. And I'm actually fine with someone else directing it because I think when you watch a Jason Reitman movie, you can sort of tell he's got a certain pattern of how he makes his movies. You know what I mean? Like they're
He's
very
not directing
it's
this one
very
yet.
much he shoots a movie like it's an indie movie, like very low budget, all that shit. And that doesn't work for like a proper Ghostbusters movie. I mean, he made it work. I thought he made it work with Afterlife and all, but most of that, didn't take place in that didn't take place in New York at all, so
it was a good setup. I really enjoyed Afterlife. I thought it was a nice blend of Ghostbusters
ah
meets
shit, Greg's
80s style
roboting.
thing. Awesome. Anyways, anybody hear me now? Am I still roboting?
It's probably coming from my end.
Just clickety hearing there, not too bad.
Okay. It's you got anything else to say, Runner, and then we'll move on to Tom.
I could barely hear you.
Okay. Do you have anything else? Do you want to move on to Tom? You can't hear me. Oh, this is so fun.
I think he's done.
Yeah. All right.
He's toast.
We
All
lost
right.
him. All right.
All
Go to you,
right.
Tom.
Okay, which one should I do next? Let's do this one next. I've only seen the theatrical cut of this before watching this, and I only noticed very little difference. But then when I looked, there's only like 10 minutes different. But of course, there's multiple versions of this movie. Otherwise, it wouldn't be directed by Ridley Scott. And I'd never seen the 4K. I only had the 3D version before. So yeah, I checked out The Martian. Actually, a very excellent 4K presentation. It's an excellent film. I don't know if you've seen it before, but it has Matt Damon and half of the Marvel Universe and half of the non-MCU in it too.
Mhm.
But yeah, and a Ghostbuster. Well, if you want to call her that, I guess.
Yeah. I wouldn't give her that.
No. And Sean
No.
Bean doesn't die.
Sean Bean doesn't die. Yeah, I
Yeah.
know. That's a great movie.
I know, I love this movie. And this is the one I was talking about earlier that actually won Best Musical or Comedy at the Golden Globes that
Yeah,
year.
that's okay. That's what I was wondering. How's
Yeah,
that
that's a good
musical
movie.
or a comedy?
I mean, there is a lot of humorous elements to it, but
Yeah, I would consider it a little more sci-fi. I mean, yes, it's kind of like you said, like I don't know. I wouldn't have got the musical comedy out of that.
because really, what is it? It's half of the movie is castaway in space, and the other half of the movie is a rescue mission, right?
Right.
And it actually, if you ask me, is kind of better than Castaway. Matt Damon does a great job with this film. Honestly, if there's ever a movie he probably deserved an Oscar for, it was probably this, besides like Good Will Hunting.
I
I'm
agree.
surprised it didn't get more appreciation when it came out. It is Ridley Scott's last good film, and it's probably his first good film since 1993 or something like that. Who knows? Probably whatever Gladiator came out. Who remembers? I didn't even care for Gladiator all that much. I just know everybody else does.
Gladiator was 2000.
No, I'll say the most
that
controversial
would
thing
say.
I always say is Ridley Scott is the most overrated fucking director in the world, and the wrong kid died.
Snap.
Mic drop.
I kind of
No, but this is one of his better movies.
I don't dislike Ridley Scott, but yeah, Tony Scott's the better
No, I don't
director.
dislike
I mean,
him, but
I
it's
think
like
so.
it's more like I have a love-hate relationship with him. Like, I mean, some of this is kind of jokingly because we've gone through this. Like, Andre and I had a big, huge debate with like Mr. H and stuff like that, and a few other people about whenever Ridley Scott comes up, him and I are just like overrated. You know, and everybody's like, what? It's Ridley Scott. It's like, well, if he's such a great director, then why does he need 10 cuts for every one of his fucking movies?
Is that
Couldn't
got
get
an
it
alternate
right the first
cut?
time. Almost every one of I can't think of a single one of his movies that doesn't have an alternate cut.
You know, I don't think I've seen the alternate cut of The Martian.
There's only like a
Blu-ray.
few extra minutes from what I could tell.
Okay.
And it really, I think it was just a couple things with like the people on the ship. And then there was like some, like, I can't even remember, but like there's this little minor subplot that totally just got cut out, and you can see why, because it goes nowhere. And I think that's it. I mean, you could probably look it up on IMDb, probably more specifically, but I mean, again, if I ever watch it again, I'll probably just watch it in 3D because it was a fun 3D film. But this is a pretty good 4K. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think it was shot on ARRI, and I'm pretty sure some of it was shot on film. But I mean, there's a lot of digital shit and stuff like that anyway. So,
Yeah.
But if I remember right, it might have been finished at 4K native. I had to look because this was Fox just before Disney.
The
And
last
this
one
was a
of the
pretty
last
big
good
deal.
ones.
Yeah. So I'd have to look. It might have been native 4K, but I should have looked that up before. But I can do that right now, probably.
I remember watching.
Then we lost Runner again.
We lost Runner again. He ran away.
It does say native 4K, so yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a really nice presentation. I mean, for even an older kind of Blu-ray at this point, because this came out 2015, something like that. Yeah, 2015. So, no, I can recommend it. And actually, it's pretty affordable. You can get the director's cut 4K for pretty cheap. I think I got it for like $10 or $15.
Oh, it's pretty cheep. I still have the Blu-ray. I never.
That's the only reason I
Blu-ray.
bought it is because like I already got the 3D Blu-ray. I'm like, oh, an extended cut. Oh, it's only like $10 or whatever. Fuck it.
It's worth it. That's
I
nice.
think I got actually. I might even have got it cheaper net. It might have been a Black Friday purchase. I don't even remember. I'd have to go look.
Got it for $5 on 4K.
Like it could have even been like one of those $7.99 titles at Best Buy or Walmart or something like that.
Oh
like
yeah.
last year or whatever. Because I
They
think this is
usually-
one I've had for like a year or two now, but I just finally watched it. But yeah,
That's sort of like what I did. I had a couple of movies I've had for a while that I dug into this year.
I just got this inkling. I'm like, you know what? I want to watch The Martian. I ain't seen it in like 5 years.
I enjoyed it. It is one of those movies that's kind of. I agree with you about Castaway. It's better than Castaway. I think Matt Damon does a really great job of like conveying what that's like on Mars and
Well,
like
and he
how
makes a nerd a hero too. Sorry, go.
Yeah, no, that's why I was sort of getting at. He sort of has that like. I don't know. He's got this presence. I mean, like Tom Hanks, yeah, he's great, and I love the movie. I do love the movie Castaway. I think it's a great flick. But Matt Damon's got something different than what Tom Hanks had on when he's stranded alone. He makes it. I don't know. He's got a charm to it that's different than Tom Hanks' depressing.
It helps that he also has the video to talk to.
Right.
So he's like directly talking to us pretty much. I mean, and look, I mean, I love all his bits. I love, that he's a botanist. He's a nerd. He's a nerdy nerd. Like he's even treated like the outcast of his own crew at the beginning of the movie. Kind of like they shut him off at one point. They just shut him up.
Yeah.
I mean, so like he's the nerdiest of the crew kind of thing. And then, so they still have this nerd who's like, well, of course, any other time they would have probably had this be like Arnold, like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Steve McQueen or somebody like that. And, it would be, or Charlton Heston or something like that, and he wouldn't be such a nerd. But Matt Damon is just cast perfectly in the role. And just the little things make the movie what it is. The little moments, like his whole thing with, you know, I'm going to science the shit out of it. I think that's, I'm sure he didn't come up with that term, but that's where I remember that term becoming popular. He's like, in other words, I'm going to have to science the shit out of this thing. Like, that's the first time I remember hearing it. There's that, you know, and then the whole thing. I love the bit where he comes up with how to do the potatoes. And he's like, well, according to my college, the first time you plant something, you colonized it. So I am the first colonizer on the planet Mars. And then the whole maritime thing with him being a pirate and all that. Like, it's just a brilliant film. I would agree it's probably the last good Ridley Scott film we've had for a while, and the first good one for a long time. And yeah,
it's a fun movie. I haven't seen it in a while myself, but I remember just being like, this type of movie when you watch it, you go, you know what? That was surprisingly really good, because you always hear
feels
people,
real.
Yeah, it feels like. It's not like, oh, there's people on Mars and it's fake. No, it feels like this is what we could do on Mars if it were to really happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, some of the equipment seems a little futuristic, but it's not like overtly futuristic. You know, I mean, but yeah.
Yeah.
And clearly NASA ain't nothing like this now. Like, NASA can barely get a fucking fart off the ground, let alone a fucking... I mean, that's the humor of it, because like they actually do the logistics, because you know damn well, like going back, like again, like say if this was a Charlton Heston movie from back in the day, they instantly have a ship ready to go back and get them, you know. But I love that they logistically look at it from the point of view of, well, we don't have this other mission ready for like another X amount of years, right? You know, so like it's going to be 4 years till we get our asses back up there. What's he going to do? He's only got, luckily, maybe at best, like a year's worth of supplies. And if he rations it, maybe a year and a half, you know, they're sitting there trying to figure out the same shit he's doing. And, you know, just the little things, right? Like the little stupid calculations that sometimes people overlook because they're under pressure. You know, and they do a very good job of, you know, intertwining that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just a very, like, I can see a lot of nerds loving this film, right? And it's also... Definitely. But the best part is it's accessible for the normies too. And I think you're coming through the wrong mic there, Runner, or you're coming through your phone. One of the two.
Yeah. Bro.
That was an accident. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. That was an accident.
No, fuck that.
Oops, did it again.
Was not an accident.
Oh my God, my finger slipped.
No, seriously, it was. I meant to unmute you, and you unmuted yourself at the same time I was unmuting you.
Well, don't fucking mute me. I'm just kidding.
And to answer your question, yes, Bryant Barth, that's where I get my joke from Dewey Cox, where I say wrong kid died. Because Tony Scott was the better director all around.
I agree, 100%.
Yeah, I agree too.
He just wasn't as well respected because he didn't make the Oscar fodder.
Yeah, I know. Like. Yeah, because I remember, you know, and I do like The Martian. I've seen it a while ago. It's a good movie.
All right, I'll give him this. The Martian is the most Tony Scott movie Ridley Scott ever made.
You're not wrong.
It is. It feels like it would be a Tony Scott movie, not a Ridley Scott movie.
You know,
between the humor, the action, the way it all is, it's like... It is one of the least Ridley Scott movies he's ever made. Because normally a Ridley Scott movie would have some fucked up, stupid ending that made no sense to anybody but him, that he would have to redo 12 times in the next 5 years.
Yeah.
Like he would die and be like, well, did he really die? No, he became part of the universe.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck are you doing, Ridley? This is not 2001! Like, get the brother home!
People want to see him rescued.
And they didn't go through the cheap, and I give them credit, they didn't go through the cheap thing of somebody else having to sacrifice themselves to save him, which would make the whole mission fucking stupid. You know what I mean? Like, right. I was waiting for it first watch. I'm like, because it feels like they're setting the captain up. That something's going to go wrong, and she's going to sacrifice herself to save him. Because she's the captain.
Yeah.
I was waiting for that the whole fucking movie. Thank God they didn't go there. I was like, oh, thankfully. And this was before woke, mind you. Mm-hmm. Right? This is pre-woke. Even then, I was kind of cringing. I'm waiting for it. Because I was like, because they were kind of setting it up with her. She's like, no, it's my fault. I'm the captain. I made the call. You know, all that shit.
Mm-hmm. I get you.
And I've seen enough Star Trek to know where those things go.
Yeah, exactly. I felt the same way, man. I'm glad they didn't go there personally as well. So I enjoyed The Martian. It's a fun flick. So
Nah, it's like the most Michael Bay movie or like Tony Scott movie that Ridley Scott's ever made. I mean, it's very accessible, but yet it's nerdy and it's got a lot of nerd tech and nerd fun. You know, with the rover and all that stuff. Yeah.
You know, speaking of Tony Scott and Ridley Scott, you know that Denzel Washington was cast for Gladiator 2. Recently.
For reals? Oh, Lord.
Yeah.
I have no designs in this thing. If anything, hopefully it'll be worth the laughs.
Okay, like when that was
this movie is
announced,
either going to be one of the most epic fails of all times, or he might actually succeed. But either way, it's pointless.
It's pointless as shit, like objectively, but like when he was announced to be in the cast, I'm like, that's like the only damn reason I'd want to see the movie is because he's in it. That's it.
Doug, Prometheus is what ruined Alien Covenant.
Yeah.
Prometheus ruined Alien in general.
Yeah,
I heard Prometheus was bad.
It's a very well-crafted film. It's a very watchable film. It has a lot of interesting elements and ideas in it, but it also destroys everything that we've come to learn about the alien.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Like, it really kind of takes out of the equation that the alien is basically a biological weapon that got out of hand.
Mm-hmm.
And it really sets it up in this way that makes it this more prolific thing than it really fucking is. And it's just like, dude... Because this whole thing, the way you figure it from the original film, like, yeah, these guys created this weapon. They may have been at war, whatever the fuck was going on, but this weapon got out. And it killed an entire race of people. The people that made it. It was an allegory for the nuclear bomb, really.
Mm-hmm.
And Prometheus, they tried to make it this whole other thing, like they killed themselves with that whole black crap at the beginning, and then the black crap mixes with it. It turns into this whole mutation. Fuck, I couldn't even explain. I can't fucking explain to you what happened in Prometheus.
It's his 2001 Space Odyssey in the beginning.
Yes.
Of that.
It
really is.
That is where Ridley Scott went full blown fucking yeah, exactly, Greg. That is his 2001 intro. It's like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah. It's like with that waterfall and shit. It's like, what?
And then he's like creating this idea that the alien is not fully. I'm like, dude, what the fuck? Like, it is the perfect weapon. It can procreate with anything. And you're making it out like, oh, this is level 1. What we see in the next one is going to finally get to where we know it. It's like, no, fuck that. It doesn't matter what it is. It is its own species. And once it contacts something else, that was what I liked about Alien 3. One of the only good things about Alien 3. And it kind of introduced that with Alien 2 with the drones. Right? That we have different kinds of aliens here, but they're basically like a bug. Right? And it kind of makes sense, right? You got this biological weapon that you can't fucking kill or it'll kill you because it's got acid for blood. Mm-hmm. It can pretty much probably live in almost any goddamn environment except for space. It can adapt to any environment probably through, becoming whatever. Like, because that's what I love about the third film. It combines with, well, depending on which version you watch, either the dog or the bull. Right? So at that point, then it becomes a completely different kind of alien than we've ever seen before. So I kind of like that concept. It's like, it will just adapt to whatever the fuck is on that planet and then destroy whatever is on that fucking planet.
Right.
And in the process, if you try to destroy it, it will probably kill you. Because, like, Ripley was right in the second one. The only way to do it is nuke it from space. And even then, you don't know what could possibly happen. Maybe that would mutate them even more.
Yeah, you never know because we never made it that far into the story of the original aliens, did we? But yeah,
well, they quit exploring that after it became more about military bullshit, and then the third film threw everything off the rails. Yeah. Fourth film tried to get it back on the rails, but it didn't. It was wobbly at best, and then from there it was just all downhill. So
yeah, pretty much. And yeah, Prometheus was. I didn't like Prometheus, and I never bothered with Alien Covenant, so I was good on that front.
Oh, Alien Covenant made me pissed. I was pissed. I almost asked for my money back at the theater. I was so pissed. And what made it worse is I saw it the same day I saw Guardians of the Galaxy 2, so I saw a really awesome fucking movie, and then I go see fucking Covenant.
What's that?
I was just like, oh my fuck. What did he do? It's Alien all over again, only worse. It's the same basic plot. Just replace truckers, space truckers, with space colonizers.
Not good ones either.
No, I want to see somebody someday try and argue with me that it's not the same exact fucking movie, only worse.
I think most people realized it was bad, so they didn't bother. But I never seen it.
Then you got the gay robots on top of it all, right, Doug? Yeah.
David.
You still talking about Prometheus?
Sadly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on.
I've only seen the first 2 Alien movies.
That's all you really need.
It's your turn, right, Greg?
Is it my turn? Okay. Am I still popping? Am I sounding good?
You're not, but Runner is.
Okay.
I'm on my iPad right now. That's why.
You sound a lot worse than Greg did before.
Yeah, you sound pretty bad.
That's because I'm using my headphone mic quality.
All right. Well,
that's why it doesn't sound good.
As long as you guys can hear me and see me at this moment in time, I'll take it.
Your clicking doesn't seem so bad no more.
Okay, that's good.
Really? That's how bad.
Like just in comparison, yes.
Seriously? Jesus.
So I have a new movie here from Shudder, which is a really great movie that I'm glad just finally was released on Blu-ray, and it is called Glorious, starring Ryan Quinton and J.K. Simmons. I really love this movie. This was a cosmic horror comedy like H.P. Lovecraft. It was a fun movie. So Ryan Quinton here, he starts, it's like he's broken up with his girlfriend or something, and he goes to this rest stop and he gets drunk, and then he goes into the bathroom, and there's a glory hole. That's why it's called Glorious. And there's a glory hole in the next bathroom stall, and it turns out that's J.K. Simmons. He's not in the movie, it's just his voice. He's this elder god who has locked him into this bathroom rest stop and to help him save the world. And his movie gets nuts, and it's got some great special practical effects, blood, and it unfolds the story of who this guy really is and how him and this god who was created to destroy the world is hiding out from his even more powerful god of a father, and how these two guys have come together to save this world. And it's funny. And it's like it builds to like what exactly is the glory hole, because he keeps telling him he needs to do it. He needs to do this. So does he stick his in this glory hole for this god to do something to it? So I don't want to spoil that, but it's got a great little wrap up to the story. It's like a little bottle movie. It's only an hour and like 20 minutes, hour 15 minutes. But if you get a chance to see this, check it out. It's really, really well done. It's really well worth it.
Is it glorious?
It is glorious. It's a fun movie.
Is it as glorious as Morbius, as Tom would say?
This is probably better than Morbius, but I haven't seen Morbius. But I can't say that. I can't say that.
Well,
I've never seen Morbius.
I haven't seen Morbius either, but Tom says Morbius is glorious, so that's why I asked. Because it rhymes with glorious.
Yeah, I know. I get you. But if you get a chance to see this, it's like I said, it's still on Shudder, but you can get the Blu-ray. Blu-ray, I paid like $13 for this Blu-ray. So
nice.
Yeah, it's pretty cheap. It's a fun movie.
That's a glorious price.
Yes, if you're a fan of H.P. Lovecraft, this is like Lovecraftian, but it's really great, and it's a fun movie. So yeah, there you go. That's the other new movie I picked up. If you're ready, Runner, and you can get it going here, you ready for your last one?
Is it my last one?
It should be your last one. That was my fifth pick.
No, I got two more too.
I got two more. Yeah.
How did you get ahead of us?
How did I get ahead of you guys? I've done.
That's a good question.
I've done 4 movies. Oh no. Okay. My last movies is a twofer.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Oh, that's
I don't know how
why.
I managed that, but I thought I had a sixth one, but it turns out it comes together. So
Damn it, you fucked it up, Greg.
it's still 6 movies. It's just it comes together.
Oh, so you're gonna have to show one half of the.
It's good. It's all in one package.
Yeah, I know. You're gonna show half of the package and then the other half later.
No, I'll let you guys go twice, and then I'll show my last one.
I'm joking. Damn it.
Yeah, it wasn't funny, but
It was pretty funny. It's better than your dumb jokes.
what do you got? You ready to show yours if you can actually get it going?
Yes. All right. So this movie, I know Tom's a big fan of this movie. This was exclusive to the Disney movie thing or whatever it is. It's I wouldn't really say it's a knockoff of Slapshot, but it's kind of like a more kid-friendly version of it. But still a fun movie all around.
Mighty Ducks.
Yep. Mighty Ducks.
The Mighty Ducks, man! I swear to God. I do like the Mighty Ducks. I like the original Mighty Ducks. It's a fun one.
Quack.
Quack, 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 quack.
You know what's funny? Like I remember I was like in the middle of watching the Mighty Ducks one day, and then my dad just comes down and he's like, "Wait, what are you watching?" And then he watches it for a little bit. I'm like, "Oh, are you watching the Mighty Fucks?" I that was one of the funniest fucking things I've heard. I laughed so fucking hard. I'm like, "Holy shit! I'm gonna steal that."
Right, Gordon Bombay.
The Mighty Fucks.
Technically, Brian Barth, Emilio Estevez is actually still doing things. He's actually moved behind the camera. He's a director now. He's actually made a couple independent films that just came out not too long ago.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah, one was actually filmed in Cincinnati about a year or two ago. And yeah, he did one with his dad, Martin Sheen, where he's like a hiker. He does like small independent drama type films now. He's a director. That's basically what he does. So yeah, he's not much of the actor anymore. He just does directing stuff. He moved on to that aspect of his career.
He got fired from Mighty Ducks because he didn't want to get the jab.
Oh, I
No,
heard
I'm
about
serious.
that.
I know. Yeah, I forgot they even had that TV series. That piece of trash, anyways. Probably
It wasn't actually that bad.
it wasn't.
Yeah, I kind of liked it until they got rid of him. I was like, well, there goes that one. I mean, it had some woke elements, but it wasn't nearly as bad as some shows. Because, I mean, kind of part of it was, I mean, the mom is kind of an overbearing mom or whatever, but like, yeah.
Yeah. Are they even bringing that back for a second season?
Yeah, I'd already had one. It's canceled.
Oh. So I had to pay no attention to it because I haven't watched Disney Plus since Mandalorian season 2. So, but yeah, I love the original Mighty Ducks. Gordon Bombay, he was great. I love the little ragtag team, kids putting together and playing hockey and doing the flying V. So, yeah, Runner's been getting into the Disney thing there, haven't you?
A little bit, no, because once like Tom told us about the whole movie club thing or whatever, I did that $5, not $5, buy five and buy 5 for $1 thing, and then yeah, that's how I got the Tron movies and all that one day.
Cool.
And I bought the Mighty Ducks.
Nice. I love the Mighty Ducks. I need to get those on Blu-ray, and that's the only way you can get them through there. So I need to get them.
Yeah, I didn't buy the sequels because I don't know if they're even worth buying.
The second one's good. The second one is great. I love the second one. Yeah, the third one, I wasn't really a big fan of the third movie. He's not in it. Emilio Estevez isn't in that much. He's like only in like the beginning and the end of the movie because they go and move the team into like it's like a private school, and they have to get to know a new coach who's like the coach of that hockey team there on that in that school, college, whatever they're in. I didn't care for the third movie.
Okay.
Yeah, but the second one is good. You have a good time with the second one. It's
Okay.
peak 90s style stuff. All right, so yeah, I get you, Dan Blackwood, because Coach Orion is who takes it. I didn't care for it. I wanted to see Gordon Bombay coach the Mighty Ducks, and not that the guy that they had being the new coach was bad, but I wanted to see Gordon Bombay. But okay, any other final words?
No, I I don't have too much to say about it. It's just a fun flick.
Okay. Do you want to go ahead? Do you want to show your other one, or Tom? Do you want to go and show yours, and then back and forth?
I can probably talk a little bit about my next pick.
All right, go ahead and show your other next pick real quick.
This is a very nice steel book that came out recently. It's got Antonio Banderas and Anthony Hopkins, and I probably just gave away the movie
Totally.
by
Zorro.
saying Mask of Zorro.
Zorro.
Yeah, damn good
that's
movie.
horrible camera, man.
I'm on my fucking iPad.
I know what you're on. It just the second one sucks. Don't watch the second one. It's horrible.
I haven't seen the second one. I didn't even know there was a second one, honestly.
Yeah, there's a second one. It's bad.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't care for the second one. I actually like that one. I think that's a pretty fun movie. I like how he teaches him how to become Zorro, and the whole like revenge plot when it comes down to it. I just love it. It's just like it feels like classic Zorro style movie.
And there's another Steven Spielberg connection in this because he was his company produced it.
Which one?
The Mask of Zorro.
I know which company. Amblin or
yeah, it's an Amblin.
Yeah,
it's an Amblin.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, when you watch the movie,
yeah, is it Kathleen Kennedy and Frank Marshall executive producers on that?
I think it's just Steven Spielberg as executive producer.
I don't know
because I didn't see Kathleen Kennedy or Frank Marshall in the credits. I think it was just Steven Spielberg.
But yeah, it's a fun little story. It feels like very much Zorro-esque. So I think that was one of the ones where they made the movie and they didn't expect it to kind of do good or whatever, and it came out and it did.
And
this
is what this is what the back looks like.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, the back is pretty nice. It's a Sony release. Well, it was it TriStar Films, and Sony distributed the 4K. Which I know, I think it originally got a 4K release. They just re-released it with a steelbook.
I did not know this. Look at this. It says, Robert Rodriguez had this movie planned and in pre-production, but he wanted $1 million over the proposed budget, and they told him no, and they ended up spending like $50 million over the initial budget. I did not know that.
I can see him making a movie like this.
I'm pretty sure that's probably why they cast Antonio Banderas in the first place.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense the more I think about it.
It was a good movie, though.
Yeah, it's a good movie, and plus the chick was super hot.
It's Catherine Zeta-Jones.
Yeah, dude, holy shit.
Yeah, that's Michael Douglas's wife.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Have you ever seen Entrapment with Sean Connery and her? That's a good one. That's not a bad little movie.
Oh, I'll write that one down. That you remember that scene where Zorro like cuts her fucking clothes off?
Yeah.
That's
If you
great.
not
That
to
was
be
great.
not to be me as usual, but if you pause that just right when she turns, you can see her whole breast.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay,
nipple
because
and all.
it was super hard to tell.
Yeah, if you pause it just right, not that I've ever done that, but if you pause it just right, you can see everything.
Oh, we know
But
you've done that.
no, I've
Jesus
never.
Christ.
I'm not that type of person.
You're Greg. Damn it.
I'm not that type of person.
Well, you're the type of person to like let me know about these fun facts. So
Yeah, but Entrapment, you'd probably like Entrapment.
okay.
Yeah, Entrapment was fun with Sean Connery and her. It's not a bad little movie.
No,
Sad
but
dude.
I love the hero's journey side of
Yeah,
the movie. I think that was really well told and everything, and I think Anthony Hopkins is a hell of a. I just think he's great. I think he's a great. I liked him as Zorro in the beginning, but I like him as like the elder statesman type
the
of
trainer,
train.
the Obi-Wan, the Mr. Miyagi type guy that trains him.
Yeah, yeah. I think he's just fantastic in that type of role.
Mm. Nice, nice. All
Um,
right, go ahead.
No, I was gonna point out your brother's comment. Side boob, nice.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, if you pause it right though. I haven't seen that movie in years though. It's a pretty good one.
It's a decent transfer too. It's good.
Nice, nice. I think it's been. Is this the first time it's been on 4K?
No,
No, I was
no,
gonna
that's
say
what.
I think
No,
it was
no, that
released before on 4K.
no, that's what I was saying. And I thought about buying it on 4K, and I thought about waiting for it to be like cheaper and all that. And then like later, like a few months ago, they're like, "Oh, The Mask of Zorro is getting a re-release on 4K for Steelbook," and they also re-released was it Air Force One on
Yeah, Air
4K
Force Ones.
Steelbook, but I already have the regular 4K for that. Even though that art on there looks pretty damn good,
Yeah, it looks pretty good.
but the Zorro one's pretty nice too.
Nice, nice. All right, all right. Okay. Good picks there, runner. Good picks there.
Yeah,
Tom,
that's it for my picks.
all right, good ones. Tom, you ready for yours?
I still got two more left, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. This next one is one that, frankly, I'd seen it at least a couple times as a kid, but I'm starting to wonder if I ever saw the entire thing. I could have swore I've rented it before. But for some reason, there's a large portion of this movie that I don't remember, and then the last half I remember quite well. And it's a little sci-fi action thriller from director Michael Crichton about killer robots.
Nice.
And it's not Westworld.
No,
Does anybody know this movie?
it's sounding vaguely familiar.
I'll give you another hint. It has a member of Kiss in it,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Runner needs to mute his mic. Thank you. Sorry. It was just really grinding in my ear. And the other star was one of the biggest TV stars of the 1980s.
Yes, I know what movie you're talking about.
Two of the biggest TV stars of the 1980s, actually, in this film.
Yes, and
And one of them actually plays a villain.
Yes, and it's got the kid from
Flight of the Navigator.
Flight of the Navigator.
Which is another thing I remembered, which is odd, but like the whole like first 2/3 of this movie, I'm like, did I see a different movie? Like, this is not the same movie, but then all of a sudden it's like, okay, I remember all this, I remember all this, I remember all this. Well, this movie I had to import because it's not one of the easiest films to find, and I'm going to be curious if Steven got it, and so did Tyrell.
Yep.
Runaway. That's right. 101 Films put out serviceable Blu-ray.
It's probably the best we'll get.
I think it's a DVD up convert. Or a very, very, very poor old scan. It is not the best looking Blu-ray in the world. There's only a commentary with a film critic, so there's no real special features to speak of. It does have a 5.1 mix on it, but again, here's another one where the stereo track was more pleasing and aesthetically fitting for the time. It's a fun fucking movie though.
Yeah.
And it's weird how much shit this movie called. Like they even call some things smart whatever.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Drones are in this movie
Mm-hmm.
way before. It really kind of tackles the idea of machines are they're like inherently faulty just because they're made by men or man,
Yeah.
in general. Like that's kind of the overall kind of thing. And Tom Selleck plays what used to be a beat cop, but now he works for the special team that all they handle are these special runaway robots. That's why it's called Runaway.
Mm-hmm.
So they have this from time to time. Robots will just go fucking insane and do stupid shit for nobody. Like it'll just either just take off, accidentally kill the dog, something just, they'll, and a lot of times they'll have to call these guys in to handle it because they're specialized in it. So almost like a bomb squad, think of it that way kind of a thing, but they just handle the robots. And he has his reasons for that. He's got a new partner. It's a very 80s movie. Like it's almost like, it almost feels like if you couldn't get any more cliche 80s movie, but it's set in the near future, like the actual time period it's set in is like 1991. But it's just so weird how much shit this movie called. Like even there's like a version of the internet kind of. There's so much shit this movie kind of got right. Yes, it's a very good companion piece to RoboCop, I would say. But Gene Simmons plays the main villain and he just chews the scenery. Tom Selleck does fine as his typical self.
Yeah.
You got Kirstie Alley as Gene Simmons' girlfriend, playing a villain, basically, a sort of turncoat villain at the same time. And it's got the interesting part of where basically Gene's got these DNA-seeking bullets. Basically, it's just fucked up movie, but it's full of fun, exciting shit.
Yeah.
It's like it's a Michael Crichton story that has never gotten its due. Like everybody always talks about Westworld, but like this one, I think he really kind of nailed home what he was trying to say with Westworld, and without it feeling like a Jurassic Park clone.
Right. They needed to definitely give us a better copy Blu-ray of that.
Yes, a 4K scan would be gorgeous. It'd be nice. I think it's a Sony film on top of it all, if I remember right. It's TriStar, so yeah.
Yeah, I remember the robot spiders were crazy in that Inverse Opinion.
I remember them being smaller when I was a kid for some reason. I mean, nothing else changed. Like that last quarter of the movie is exactly what I remember. So, I mean, I must have seen it on cable 20 times just from the last quarter in and maybe seen it once on video. But, like, I don't know. There's so many shit in the beginning. I'm like, am I seeing a different cut of the movie than I've ever seen before? But, yeah. Because even my buddy's like, I don't remember any of that shit. But we probably watched it together when we were kids, too. So that might explain it.
Well, when it's 101 Films, right? That's like UK, right?
Yeah, but I looked it up. There's no difference. It's the same running time and all that shit. Like I said, I think this comes from because it's been on DVD in the US, I believe, and I think this is probably the same scan because it looks like one of those older, like when we get Mill Creek or one of those guys doing it looks like that. So, like, yeah, it's not the best of scans.
That makes sense. But yes, I have not seen that movie in a long time myself. Neither has some of the people in the audience there. But I once you started, getting into what it was, yes, and that is a great movie. Tom Selleck is cool. Gene Simmons is awesome. The kid, I always remember the kid from Flight of the Navigator. That's why I was like, because I rarely ever seen him in anything else. And it is kind of crazy when you think about all the stuff that's in that movie that kind of predicted for the future. it's they always say like you ever seen that speaking of William Shatner, happy birthday, it's how William Shatner changed the world. It's like they did where they
vaguely,
what Star Trek did and how they call this, and like watch Runaways, it calls a lot of that stuff too, and a little more closer to what we have today than Star Trek has.
Like when they were talking about smart shit, I was like, holy fuck.
And this was the 80s, man.
I can't remember which product it was, but they referred to it as a smart something or other, and I'm just like, my jaw dropped. I'm like, you're shitting me.
Only now would like when you hear it, would it hit you?
Like, I think the only thing they didn't really get in there was they had like a version of cell phones, kind of, but it was more or less like the wireless earpiece things like we have now with
Oh yeah,
like they
the
have
Bluetooth.
those and stuff like that. Actually, I think there's a list somewhere of all the things. Let me see if I can find it real quick. Where it actually tells you all the things that it predicted. Sorry.
Now, was this? I can't remember. Did Michael Crichton? He directed this one, right?
Written and directed by Crichton.
Written, directed, yeah, okay. But that's what I thought.
One of the few films he actually directed. Yeah.
Yeah. But was this based off one of his books before he wrote it, or did he just write?
I don't think so. I think it was written as a film.
Okay.
Okay, it predicts domestic robots, video mail, social media, the internet, voice-activated computers. Yeah, because they basically have like an Amazon. I was thinking, like, God, that's just like Amazon. What you would call it?
Alexis.
Yeah, biometric system in retinal identification, camera drones, tablet. That's the other thing. Everybody's running around with like a tablet PC. And you're like, they actually don't really work because like they had to, impose them on screen. And you can even see the wires on the drones and shit. It's so kind of quaint, but it's like, holy shit. Wireless headsets, and the police officers would use semi-automatic pistols as sidearms. At that time in '84, most police officers still used classic revolvers. So basically the type of pistols they used are basically the same kind of pistols they use now. They end up using that. So yeah. And it was Jerry Goldsmith's first electronic score. Oh, I didn't know that. And it was the final science fiction film that Michael Crichton ever directed.
Huh. Talk about prophetic, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's a shame. Yeah, I would love to get a nice new Blu-ray 4K of that now. I really
Kirstie
would.
Alley was scared of Gene Simmons.
Was she?
Said Kirstie Alley remembered that she had a fear of guys who worked in bands like Kiss, especially Gene, she said, because he was so bizarre with that tongue and the fire eating that kept flashing in her mind during the early scenes they played together. To walk towards Gene, there was a lot going on inside of me, and I felt like I was going into a wan of fire. He is a very powerful human being. He feels very dangerous, but he's not. And he's like really tall too. People forget about that because he wears those heels on top of it all too. So I'm sure he's very imposing on, like, God. Somebody also had said some other comment about Gene. Like he felt like he was Lucifer or something like that. And then the other thing is when Michael had him come in to read for the part, he said he made him just sit there for like 2 minutes and stare at him. Because a lot of his role is just staring, right? So he's like, yeah, he looks menacing enough. Let's do it. Like,
I mean, he's scarier without the makeup on, so.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't even think they really sold the film on that fact because this was like the first movie that Gene had ever done, really. I mean, outside of being Kiss. So, like, yeah.
That's pretty much. What year did this come out?
84. One of the greatest films years of all time.
Nice. Yes.
And this is a buried film from that year.
Yeah, I remember it. Yeah, I just
people remember it, but it is hard to come by. And like, it's one of those movies that most people are like, "Oh yeah, I remember that movie," because it was on TV all the time too. That's why I said I know I've seen it at least a dozen fucking times growing up. But yeah. And I had my buddy was like a huge Kiss fan, right? So that's the thing, is he had the movie. So we're both going like, I don't remember that. I don't remember that either, but it was weird. So yeah.
It's just
we
like
were having like a weird anti-deja vu in our own little like Mandela effect world or something like that.
I don't remember, but I remember this. Yeah, I've been there before when you think, when you've seen a movie. I always equate that to maybe a TV edit, but you never know. So
I thought so, but I looked at the trivia and looked at the alternate versions. There is no alternate versions, so I'm just like, whatever, okay. But I recommend it. As far as price wise, it's importing right now at a pretty decent price. It's still depending on if you want to go get it through Amazon UK, I think it's going for like £7, and you end up having to pay like that much in shipping.
Yeah.
So it figures out to about 15, 16, 17 bucks, something like that. And then if you buy it in the US, you can get it through one of the import shops through Amazon, but it's basically the same price just in US.
Okay, that makes sense. Is it region B or region free?
It is region B. I forgot. Thank you for asking that because I totally spaced that out. Thank you for asking that. Yeah.
So you have to have a region free player to get it. So that makes sense. Alrighty. Now with my last thing here, it's in a set, and we've talked somewhat about these movies before. Not as much as we've talked Halloween and Scream on here, but we've talked about these movies before. So I didn't know if you want to show your last pick because mine's it's all together. So I didn't know if you want to go show yours or you just want me to show mine, and then and then we'll do it.
No problem. It's up to you, man. I don't know how long you're going to talk on your last one. I'm sure I'll talk a lot on my last one. That's why I saved it for last.
Me and you are probably going to have a pretty good conversation with what I'm about to show, and maybe Runner will chime in if he can. But
how's my mic sound right now?
Still crackly, but not bad.
Seriously? God
damn
it! The mic must be fucking terrible on my headset. I don't know.
Sorry about that, but yeah, you want me to go? Yeah. I can.
Yeah, go ahead because this one might. Hopefully, it won't turn into a 3-hour conversation. But yeah, go ahead, show yours, and then we'll get to it.
All right. My last film is a movie I doubt you two have seen.
Oh, okay.
But you know of it. I'm sure some of our audience has seen it, and it is probably, definitely probably in the top 10, if not at least 15 greatest documentaries of all time. It's definitely in my top 10, but I mean, just in general, it's got to be. And I do have a special place for it in my heart because the people who are in it come from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And no, it's not Red Letter Media.
I know I've been meaning to pick this up.
And sadly, we lost one of these individuals just recently, which was really heartbreaking for me. Because when I fell in love with this movie and when I found out who these guys were, what they do, and what they're all about, I think without showing what it is first, I think I should just share the trailer. I think it says all. Is that all right?
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I've been meaning to get this movie because I've heard so much about it, and I still can't believe I have missed this movie.
American movie. You guys have to see it.
Movie. Yes,
that's not
I've been
the one
dying
I
for
you
this.
Were gonna talk. That's not the one.
I knew where he was. I knew where he was going.
That's who we just recently lost.
Yeah, Mike.
That was wicked, man.
That was wicked, man.
I did hear of this movie.
You have 2 hours tomorrow from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and be an extra in a film.
Fucking lost
You get your name on the credit screen as a producer.
And of course, there'll be a whole crowd of people
We
here.
set
so
him
we
there
gotta
and the
make,
guy
like, a
took
line
him.
where people can't go. Have a hell of a lot of assistant directors saying, hey, could you step back like 5 feet? I think my mom's gonna have to end up going out in the woods.
I have my shopping to do.
Okay, you gotta spread apart that way. All of the extras have just fell through, except for Mike Schenk right there.
We used to do a lot of partying together, but I don't party anymore.
Hey, Mike, make sure everyone has brown gloves.
Yeah.
Does everyone have brown gloves?
No, dude.
I've been dying to see this movie. I forgot it just came out.
Coven, that's the proper pronunciation.
No, coven sounds like oven, man, and that's just, it doesn't work.
She wants to be in your film, Bill.
Oh my gosh.
You get your $3,000 back. It's the first line of the film, man. It's got to be on the money.
It's all right.
Okay, I believe we can do this.
Shot 37 here where my head goes through the cupboard. Every time we got together, there was something that seemed to go wrong.
Oh, dude. I'm sorry, I tried to put you in this.
Take 30.
I wish this didn't give away so much, but yeah.
Your teeth too, because they clack a little bit when they
I feel like
loosen
I've
up
seen
in the
this
mouth.
trailer before.
Oh, now I see there's a friend there.
Oh no, what are you talking about, Ma? Check it out when you look at the scarecrows. Oh, you get it?
Within weeks, the film will be cut, finished for multiple sales. What do you think about that?
Multiple sales to who?
We get to see Americans and American dreams, and you won't walk away depressed after seeing this.
This whole thing is turning into a theatrical mockery. Do you understand that, Mike?
No.
Well, you will.
Oh yeah, man.
If I can find 3,000 people like you across this country, man, I'm in business.
Poor Mike,
I
man.
love Mike. Oh man, it's just so sad. But yeah, one of the greatest documentaries ever. I can't recommend it enough. They did a great job transferring it. I did not know it was mono. It's just weird, but it's from the original 16 millimeter. It looks like, I don't know about it being the negative, but it's a 1331. So it does exactly what it needs to be, but it's high def, right? Like that trailer didn't do it justice as far as how good this looks. It has, of course, deleted scenes, the trailer that we just watched, I believe, director and cast commentary. So all the stuff it had, I think, on the original DVD. But it's a movie that's that I've been wanting to get my hands on for a while. I mean, I know it's been out on DVD, but I was just kind of waiting to. I don't think I ever came across it before. It was part of the problem.
All right, me neither. Because I've heard so much about this documentary.
I've heard of this movie, and I've wanted to see it for a while, actually. But the movie I thought you were gonna bring up that was a documentary was it was a movie I think you talked about recently on one of the Mead shows. Was this film is not yet rated? I thought that's the one you were gonna talk about.
Oh no, that one's one that I wish I had on video. Excuse me, that's actually only been available. It was originally, I think, on Netflix, a movie. But you can get it. You can watch it now, I think, on YouTube for free.
No. Good night, Brian Bars.
Take care, buddy.
That's the one I thought you were gonna bring up, but no, I'm interested in watching American movie.
I've been meaning to get this. I forgot it just came out on Blu-ray, and I've been dying to see this movie for so long, especially after I heard Mike passed away, and I've heard so much about this movie and how. It's just this really great. Of course,
they shot up to fandom from here. They were on David Letterman quite a few times. David Letterman would have them running around in like Milwaukee and other things and doing fun shit. They had a couple of Super Bowl trailers the last time that the Packers were in the Super Bowl, I believe it was, or one of the Super Bowls they were in. So that, and I mean, Mark. I think he has. I don't know if he has his own YouTube channel, but he's done a lot of interviews online. Like you can find a lot of stuff. We could maybe try and get a hold of him at some point, maybe. But so like once you guys actually get to see it, let me know. We'll see what we can do. But
definitely, I gotta check it out. I forgot that was even out on Blu-ray, so I'm gonna put that on my Amazon or wherever I can get it here soon. As soon as we get done here,
it's just one of those. It's a feel-good documentary about just weird guys. And we can relate to them, especially if you're guys who love movies or guys who want to make movies like that. Then you'll definitely be able to
I can tell you right now, if I knew them guys, I would totally be friends with both of them. I would probably been hanging out with them.
And Coven and stuff is online. Like you can go watch Coven online. People put it online, so it's just the DVD quality. But yeah,
nice. I'm gonna have to check that out too, especially after I watch the documentary.
Which is kind of a bummer because you watch the documentary and you see all the shots from Coven from the 16 millimeter shot, and like then you see the version that's online right now. It's like, God, that needs to be rescanned, and I wish that was in this. They should have put it as a bonus on this. That'd have been nice.
That would have been good.
I mean, Christ, they got half the movie as it is on here. I mean,
yeah, filming the documentary, right?
Well, because here's like the whole joke of the movie that they don't give away in the trailer. That's kind of like the running through storyline. Is that's what's kind of funny about it, is it almost doesn't feel like a documentary after a while. Because like you just start to feel like, even though like Mike is kind of talking in just general sometimes just to the camera, a lot of times you just find him talking to other people in the scene. So it's almost like you're just following around this guy in this movie. It's like its own movie. And I mean, sometimes you have the face one-on-one conversations, but it almost feels like this is where they stole the shit from The Office for. Right, it has a very much like a feeling like that, because you really get into like, you'll have Mark will do a scene and he'll be talking about whatever, talking his shit, like you see him sitting there, and then you'll have Mike in the next scene just looking at the camera going, I have no idea what Mark was talking about, but it sounds like fun, like shit like that. It's like, it's just kind of like one moment you're doing that, but the whole through storyline is he's trying to make this movie. I can't even remember, Northwestern something. I can't even remember what the hell it was called. Because the funny part is he's getting all these people together. He's selling this idea to his uncle, whose uncle supposedly has this huge fucking bank of money that he's sitting on, but he just lives like a bachelor, right? Like, so he never spends his money. He's real stingy with it and shit. But he talks him into giving him $3,000. Well, then Mark turns around and fucking decides to finish Coven instead of making his other movie, because he gets it in his head that if he makes Coven, he can sell it and like make $40,000 to $50,000 off of selling Coven, and he'll use that instead to make them. So he's got, it's like, and everybody's just like, I thought we were making this other movie, Northwestern, but I guess we're making this now. I don't know what the fuck's going on. Like, and he's just so energetic that he can just like sell like, you know, fucking a popsicle to an Eskimo. Basically, he's that kind of, and he's not like he's not like what you would think is a used car salesman. He's just so, I want to make my movie. My movie's going to be this. And it's this. He's just so energetic about it. He's
enthusiasm and stuff kind of wins people over.
Right. Yeah, you end up believing him after a while. You're just like, I fucking believe the guy.
Yeah, I'm
like,
down,
even though
buddy.
he's been trying for 20 years almost, or 10, 15 years now to be a fucking filmmaker, and he ain't done it yet, but I believe in him. You know? And that's kind of the running joke, is that he's been making the same 3 movies for like 10, 15 years. It never finishes anything. But he actually, I don't want to give too much away. You kind of know it has somewhat of a happy ending without getting into too much of spoilers, but sadly that, you know, recently we did lose one of the members of the crew. So
that's because I've heard about that, and I'm glad you reminded me about that movie.
When you start to hear some of his fucking stories, though, you wouldn't. I mean, I hate saying it this way, but it's not like, it wasn't huge. When I heard about it, I wasn't overly surprised. The man has been very rough to himself over the years. In fact, this is not the first time he's technically died.
Oh boy.
So that's why I'm trying not to be like, yeah, exactly. I'm not trying to like mean? He partied his, like when he says in that scene we used to party, he ain't fucking kidding. Like he tells this one story in the movie about, and again, I don't want to give too much away, but like he tells this story about one time I was partying at this girl's house, and I can't remember if he dropped some acid or something, and yeah, he dropped acid, and then I drank a whole thing of vodka, and I passed out and hit my head on the coffee table. Next thing I know, I woke up in the hospital, and it was like 3 weeks later, and I guess I had died. And they were like telling my mom that they had no brain activity, and like next thing you know, I woke up, and then I was like searching in my pants, and I got really pissed because I was like, they found my acid, and I was gonna drop the other acid while I was there. It's like, you just fucking died, dude! What the fuck? And he's like, and then I got real pissed, and then my mom comes in the room, and she holds up the acid and says, we gotta talk. And I was just so upset because I wanted to drop those other 2 tabs, man. It's like, what the fuck, man? So like when he did, I was like, you know, it was sad, but it's like, you know what? I'm not surprised this motherfucker was on borrowed time already. So like,
oh man, the guy's legendary,
you can
man.
tell that clearly whatever happened to him, it really did affect his mental
stability.
Well, that's the thing, is he's still really good at playing guitar, and he does talk. I mean, he's obviously conscious and knows what's going on, but you can clearly tell it did take a toll on him. Right. Like he's got that kind of slowness because of it and all that kind of stuff.
Slowed him down a bit.
Yeah.
I get it. This is a movie I've heard so many people talk so much about this, and I have got to see it.
Yeah, same. I'm gonna have to watch this before I watch Double Impact, honestly.
Oh yeah, this movie more than likely better, but Double Impact's a good one too. But yes, definitely. Thank you for reminding me for that movie. I will put that on my thing.
Yeah, I'm interested in watching it just because that's the type of shit I want to do, is low budget.
Acid and vodka and pass out?
No, like the filmmaking aspect.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, obviously what the point of the movie is, like that type of stuff. Like I'm sort of doing that in a way with some of my projects, but it's not like that, you know?
Right.
So yeah, it's a little relatable in that.
I definitely think that, from what I've heard, that is like if you want to be like a filmmaker, or if that's like something you need to see. This American movie, you have to see. So.
Oh, absolutely, 110%.
Yes, definitely.
Oh yeah. Sadly, it doesn't appear to be streaming anywhere right now outside of rental wise, but yeah. or buying it or whatever. But
I might buy it on Blu-ray because I did.
It looks like it's pretty
yeah.
cheap in some places though. So, like,
I
looks
know-
like even on like Vudu right now, you can get it for $4.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if it comes with all the extras, but I mean, yeah. That's a pretty good price. iTunes is $3.99.
That's not bad.
Amazon only has it in standard definition, but it's only $2.99 there. But HD on Google, HD on Vudu, HD on iTunes. So yeah,
nice.
Okay, when I go here though, holy shit, they have it in ultra high definition for $14.99. What the fuck? That means they scan this in 4K.
And they didn't even give us the 4K. Damn it!
Holy shit!
This is a Sony Pictures Classics though. And it wasn't in the, what was that? That was Sony. That wasn't Sony Picture Classics. That was what was the one that had like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, and all that shit in it? The box.
That was the what was it, 25th anniversary thing or something?
It wasn't Sony Pictures Classics though. It was their other line. What was it?
No, Sony Pictures Classics.
You sure?
Yeah, it was Sony Pictures Classics. I'm pretty damn sure.
How is that not in that box set then?
There were some other titles that they left out of that box set.
I didn't even know that. I was like, is that really? Yeah, it is, isn't it? How is that not in there if they'd scan that in 4K? Because that has got to be one of their biggest ones besides like Crouching Tiger and all that shit. Yeah, no, it's not in there. 30 years. What the fuck?
You would think that would be in that box set.
I mean, I'm not saying it screams 4K or anything, but you can get by just fine on the version you got in Blu-ray. But like,
right,
it deserves its place. I agree.
It's the price I saw is wrong here though on for Vudu anyway. It's the $12.99 for the other version, but you can rent it for that much. That's what that must have meant. $3.99.
Okay. Usually, they give you the rental price first.
Can't believe it's in 4K.
That's hilarious.
4K Dolby Vision. Yeah.
Go figure. Oh, there goes my chair squeaking. You can't even trust getting an asset from someone anymore.
No.
That is definitely good on my list. I need to get that immediately.
The Blu-ray costs $24.99.
Yeah.
You're better off buying it in 4K because it's only $14.99.
Yeah, this is too high of a price for that type of Blu-ray.
I'll get to it. Should I go?
I'll watch it for sure.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to watch it. I've been meaning to for so long. Should we? What do you guys want to do? You want to go on mine or anything?
Yeah. No, we're good.
No, I think it's your turn.
All right. That's okay. So, I missed. I had 6
I will
movies.
say
that
I just bought it. It does not come with any special features. Keep that in mind.
Okay, you bought the 4K.
Yeah.
Nice.
What the Blu-ray?
No, it's just a digital version.
Digital 4K.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
All right,
Fuck 'em.
so
I'll buy it that way then.
there you go. That's how you get it. Okay, so I went back and I watched a horror sequel that many people hate. I gotta admit, I tried to give it the benefit of the doubt. I still hated it. I'm sorry, but I went back and I watched Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, Freddy's Revenge.
You hated it? That's pretty harsh words.
I hated it. And then I also watched New Nightmare too. So I did watch New Nightmare.
You said Part 2?
I watched Freddy's Revenge Part 2 and New Nightmare. Wes Craven's New Nightmare. What? Okay, maybe hate is a strong word. I didn't hate it, but I tried to give it another shot, and I was so bored. It was just so boring. I wanted to turn it off, but I kept going through it. And to me, it didn't feel like a Freddy movie. It felt like an Amityville horror sequel, if you know what I'm getting at. Because like they moved into Freddy's, the house, Nancy's house, and he's sort of being possessed by Freddy, going quite crazy, thinking he's killing these people, And yeah, the gay one. And to be honest with you, I'm watching it. Yeah, I can understand how people thought that because it is like a really super gay movie, but it's tame compared to some of the shit we get today. To be honest with you, and it doesn't really feel like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie until the scene where he's in Grady's room and Freddy just rips through him, and Grady's sitting there banging on the door, yelling for his dad. That's when it gets legit scary, and Freddy feels like this really menacing force. And it's the first time, honestly, I felt like I really felt the presence of Freddy Krueger in the movie. And then, of course, we get the the pool scene and everything when he comes out. You're all my children now, which is great, and it's great. I'm like, finally, we're finally getting to something. I'm getting interested in this movie. Freddy is freaking awesome. And then she kisses Freddy, and he turns back into the other guy, and it's over. And I'm just like, I really tried. I really wanted to give it a shot, and I didn't like it, and I was really, really bored by it.
I wasn't a big fan of it either. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Yeah, so I tried to really give it a shot this time because I haven't seen it in like almost 20 years.
Yeah, I completely understand where you're coming from. It's that movie and Freddy's Dead are my least favorite of the franchise.
I'll say I like Freddy's Dead. I don't mind it. I know it's not the greatest, but I think it's just like a fun movie.
I didn't.
I mean, he's killing people with the power glove, cracking jokes.
I didn't like that. I hate the idea of him having a backstory and shit.
Yeah, well, the backstory stuff, yeah, but
I just thought it was dumb.
I really tried to give it a shot because we talk about movies like Halloween 3. We love Halloween 3, and most people hated it. I've heard a lot of people didn't like The Fly 2, so I watched The Fly 2 and I really liked it. And not that I haven't seen that before, but I liked it more. And then I thought, you know what? I'll give Freddy's 2. I'll give that a shot. And there is stuff about it I do like, and I do like that Freddy feels. Once it gets to Freddy, he feels creepier and scarier. But I don't think Freddy has the presence in the movie like he does all other movies. Like, it's not about the screen time; it's about the overall feeling, like this ominous presence of this guy. If you fall asleep, he will kill you.
I agree. 100%.
Nobody's falling asleep in this movie. It's all done through him. It's all him in his house, basically, and it feels like an Amityville horror movie. Like he's the kid that's being possessed and going around trying to keep from killing his family. And he's the only one basically having nightmares. Nobody else is having nightmares. And it just doesn't I don't know. I just was really bored by it. And
I was bored too. I agree.
And the gay stuff, like I said, the gay stuff, like the stuff we see nowadays is worse than what was done in that movie. But back in the day, you could see why people like, you really didn't see how this movie was gay. It's very much in your face with it, but you see this stuff nowadays and it's like, that's nothing compared to what we get nowadays.
That's true. But I'm gonna be honest with you. I know you're gonna disagree with this, but I think Nightmare on Elm Street 2 is slightly better than Freddy's Dead. I really didn't like Freddy's Dead.
To me, no. But I get the hate that Freddy's Dead gets. I get the hate that people give it.
I didn't want to hate it. It's just I just don't like the idea of like Freddy having a backstory where he's fucking human and kills his wife and he has a fucking child that sees it. It's like, no,
that's the worst parts of that movie. I'll give you that's the worst parts of that movie.
That ruins the movie for me. Like, I don't care. Like,
it doesn't ruin the movie for me, but that is like the worst part of the movie.
Like when Freddy gets killed and all that I'm fine with. Like, I didn't hate that, but because you needed to end the franchise in some way, I just didn't like the backstory and shit. That just ruined it for me. But I will give you this. Why?
Because you said Freddy's Dead was worse than Part 2.
It
is. I don't think so. I really don't think so.
Damn it! I was starting to like your brother, Greg.
Oh my bad. Okay, I'm going.
Oh, sorry, I didn't know I was unmuted. Sadie's bugging me.
And you want me to give you an even colder take? I think that the plot twist in the third Austin Powers movie, where Austin Powers is brothers with Dr. Evil, is better than the shit in Freddy's Dead. I'm sorry.
I think you're wrong there. I
I
think you're wrong there. I
I,
think
I
I know Freddy's Dead was not very well received, but I
see.
think part two is way worse than Freddy's Dead. And I really tried to give part two a chance. I really did.
Like,
I put it in and I was like, okay, it's been 20 years. I'm going to give this movie a chance.
See,
I don't care about the gay stuff. I mean, everybody knows the gay stuff's in there. We're
I
overdone. It's 2023. We're over and done with that, right?
yeah, I know. It doesn't
So
it doesn't
I
mean
was
anything.
exactly. So I was watching it, and I just was really just bored by it. I was just bored by it up until, and then like when it finally starts getting good, when he cuts himself out of the kid and he kills his best friend, and then goes to the pool party, and then it's over in like 5 minutes. It's like, son of a bitch, come on! I waited that long, and it just doesn't feel like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Whereas at least Freddy's Dead feels like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie because I mean they get to the once they get to Springboro and the kids start falling asleep and they have nightmares, it's a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Yes, you can argue like when you find out he got a daughter and all that. Yeah, that's probably the worst parts of the movie, but it feels like a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Yeah, but does it make it good?
It makes it better than Freddy's Dead.
What you mean two?
I mean, it makes it better than Freddy's Nightmares or it's Freddy's 2, Freddy's Revenge. Sorry, I'm messing it up here.
I mean, if you're talking about like, yeah, I agree in that sense. Like, like Nightmare on Elm Street 2 feels like the least Nightmare on Elm Street movie out of all. I agree. I agree that Freddy's Dead feels more like a Nightmare on Elm Street film. I just didn't like the concept that they were going with Freddy's backstory. They shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry.
I feel your pain. But what's this, Tom? What do you got here?
And I stopped by, and I don't know. We were passing a joint around, and one of his executives said, "You know, if we could make a low budget horror film, we could really clean up because we really know this market because." You know, New Line, basically their whole concept was, when they started, was to distribute movies to colleges. So it was all about the quote, the youth market. And so I thought about that, and I came up with this idea, which was sort of something like Alone in the Dark. And I said, hey, Bob, I got this idea. And I came in and I pitched him the idea. And he said, "Yeah, that sounds pretty good." I mean, the original concept was that it was going to take place in New York, and there's going to be a blackout.
I'm sorry, I'll come back with it.
Was that the director of?
Yeah, that was Jack Shoulder talking about smoking weed with Bob Shea.
That's awesome.
This is nice. But yeah, I really try to give part two a chance, and I do really like the look of Freddy. I think he is menacing, but he's not really menacing till the 60 minutes into the movie, and then the movie's only an hour and 25 minutes long. That's just my thoughts on it, and I prefer Freddy's Dead over part two. Even it just doesn't. I tried, kids. I really tried. So. But then I had to watch a New Nightmare, Wes Craven's New Nightmare, and much like a fine wine, Wes Craven's New Nightmare ages brilliantly because I love it. Next to part one, part three, New Nightmares, my top three Nightmare on Elm Street movies. It is so good to see like with Wes Craven coming back and he have him having this ideal because I watched if you watch all the special features stuff, Wes Craven was like. The sequels had become so far removed from his original story. He said the only best thing he could think of is, set it outside of the movies. And then that's where the ideal came from. And it's like with Heather Langenkamp and her, who is actually married to a guy that does special effects and stuff. And that's not her real husband in the movie. But, and she actually was getting menacing phone calls. Bad phone calls. So they all worked that in and it just like all floated together. And even like with the earthquake, that was actually part of the script. And then California actually had that legit earthquake. So the earthquake scenes when she's driving past broken down buildings and stuff, that's legit fresh earthquake stuff that they had to, it just like happened where they were filming the movie. So it's like
No
all
shit.
played. Yeah, no shit. Like when she's on the news, when they're talking about the earthquake and that stuff she drive past, that is legit earthquake damage from in California that like literally happened when they were filming the movie. And so it all works together, and it's scary. It's fun. It's Scream before Scream,
Yeah,
because it's just like attempt at a meta horror.
The entire
So
beginning is great of that movie.
The whole movie, everything.
Yeah, I know, but like just I love the behind the scenes stuff where Wes Craven's like trying to make the movie and all that type of stuff. More blood.
Yeah, yeah. The beginning, it's just so great, and it worked out so perfectly. And I know it kind of sucks that it did so well at the box office, but it was fun.
I even like that they went, or was it Heather Langenkamp went to New Line Cinema and all that. Talked
Yeah,
about
yeah. It's really all legit. All legit executives. That woman, she was a legit executive there, and Bob Shea, all that. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's great.
It's just. It's just, and it's really clever to see that he's captured this demon, the spirit, on film, and it loves this form of Freddy, and it doesn't want to give it up.
And I know New Nightmare is pretty much its own thing, but that's where I end off I'm so glad that Freddy's Dead wasn't like the last Freddy movie. It was New Nightmare. Like I'm satisfied with that conclusion.
I like and I don't mind Freddy's Dead, and I don't mind Freddy versus Jason either. So
I do. Freddy versus Jason's fucking fun.
It is. It's a fun movie, but dude, yeah, I did.
Oh man, it's so good. I love it. It's objectively not great, but I love it.
Yeah, it's fun though. New Nightmares though, it's just like he tapped into something Wes Craven did there. Of course he did it because he was, they offered him the money and everything to do whatever he wanted. So of course he's like, yeah, I'll do it. Because I think he turned down Freddy's Dead, if I remember correctly. He turned it down. He didn't know what to do there, and then they allowed him. Yeah. But New Nightmare, man, if anybody has not seen New Nightmare, if it's been a while, give it another watch. I mean, the scene when her son is climbing at the top of that rocket ship playground and trying to reach for God, and he's like, God wouldn't have me. Man, that scene that's an incredible scene.
That scene was crazy.
Yeah, it is such a good movie, and I've watched the part 2 out of my head. I was like, yeah, I need a palate cleanser because part 2, I just couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. It's not. I would say hate is too strong a word. It's not that I hate it because it has moments. It's something I don't feel myself compelling to watch repeatedly, or going back to much of any time soon. So yeah, and the remake is horrible. I'm glad the remake.
I still haven't seen the remake. I'm curious just to see how bad it is.
It's pretty bad. It actually has a pretty strong opening. The opening of the remake is actually pretty good.
And I like Jackie Earle Haley.
It's intense, but after it just goes down quick downhill after that. And
but I've seen
Freddy, and it's not good.
I've seen screenshots of what Freddy looks like in the movie, and that looked bad.
Yeah,
it's
bad.
General. And I like Jackie Earle Haley. He's probably the better recasting choices to Robert Englund, but
it would have been if he was allowed to be something a little different and had some better makeup.
No, I know. Yeah, exactly. He had better makeup on because
preaching to the choir.
Exactly.
Because the way he looked in that movie, like I was just like, what? Like it looked weird.
It was bad. It's because they actually researched real burns, what a real burn victim looked like. So,
stupid.
But that was my final picks of the night. We've been going for almost 3.5 hours here. We better be shutting this down. Plus, I have to get up early. So, any final words or anything?
Well, I was trying to share a little story from a video here, but
go ahead.
Well, I was trying to find the video of it. I actually have video of it too, but that's proving to be a little bit more of a pain in the because I found the question I wanted, but I'm like, well, fuck it. I'll just try and find the video because I know I got it here, but I'm not finding it for some reason. I know it's on this fucking hard drive though, because I thought it was on my Google Drive. That's what I was looking for to begin with. But no, it was fun talking to him because I even asked him about like the whole thing, and that's what I was going to get to is a question asking about how, because you guys said you didn't like it, and I would actually think like I honestly like it a little bit more now than I did as when I was younger, because it just then I didn't like it, and it seems like whatever, but now knowing what went into it, it's kind of like a little also ran kind of thing with this whole like subplot about this kid being gay. Oh, it totally works, right? Like,
right.
And Freddie would fuck with him, of course,
Of course,
so.
yeah, that was fine.
But then I do see the other problems in the film, and I understand because, like, you're right, that third act just totally.
Yeah, right.
Like, it took me years to even remember what hell happened in that third act. I was just like,
it's like she just drives there and kisses him, and it's over.
Yeah, she kisses him to death.
Are you talking about the time? Are you talking about the time you interviewed Bob Shea?
No, I got that up already. Jack Shoulders one I haven't gotten up yet, but I've got video for it. Like I've got video of him. I was trying to find the video. Yeah,
I watched part of the Bob Shea interview that you and Andre did. I need to watch the rest of it.
No, that's cool. But yeah, it's proving to be a little bit more difficult to find than I thought. So we can just kind of move on because you got to be up in the morning. So
yeah, but I gave it. I wanted to give it a legit shot because it's been like maybe 20 years, and like I said, the gay crap, I'm over with that. I was just trying to give it a legit shot at a movie, and I just really felt bored, and it felt like a bad Amityville sequel to me. That's what I was. That's the vibe I got, really. But it does have some really great Freddy stuff in it, but it's too few and far in between.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's my thoughts on the movie. All right. But thank you, Tom. Thank you, Runner. Thank you to everybody in the chat that hung with us this long. We haven't gone this long in quite some time. We've actually been trying to, keep it tight, a tight show there for a while. And we've we went a little longer than we've done.
This might be a new record.
Yeah, this might be a new record. But thank you all for watching, hanging with us tonight. Appreciate you guys. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here.
How you doing? Bitches leave.